Well, yeehaw, everybody. Hey, welcome to this latest episode of Movies Merica. Spoiler warning. And boy, did I miss you all here, especially my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics out there. I had to take off last week doing a work trip here, but now we are back to regular business. Order is restored. Okay. And as we restore order tonight, just like Wyatt Earp and his brothers try to restore order in Tombstone. All right, we are going to get into some movie discussion. And speaking of Wyatt Earp, we're talking some Tombstone here tonight. Yes, the beloved Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer Western that pretty much recharged the old Western genre there, along with Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood, a number of decades ago. We're going to be talking about Tombstone, and I know people love Tombstone. So I want to see some people in the live chat. I want people getting in the live chat and talking some Tombstone. And I am not going to be talking Tombstone by myself. I have a special guest here, all right? I have a buddy in the old OK Corral in here with me tonight talking about Tombstone here. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that here. But first, this.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yes, without further ado, like I said, I do have a special guest here joining me to talk some Tombstone turkey. And that is my buddy Ryan here. So everybody say hi to Ryan here, and also he goes by LG 2076 News on X. So thanks, Ryan, for joining us here, and hopefully you're ready to talk some Tombstone.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate the invite. Well, special guest is probably actually pretty pertinent because I was in the military, especially the U.S. Army, and we're all very special. We don't like the crayons as much, but we do lick walls. So.
Okay, gotcha. So, were you like a big Elmer's glue eater then, that kind of thing? So, maybe like licking crayons and.
Yeah, a little bit of back of the bus, maybe a little bit of glue. I think we've all eaten glue when we were in elementary school. The long and the short of it is that because yes, I was a part of the U.S. Army. Marines and us, we always are always going at each other. They're crayon eaters and stuff like that. They call us window lickers. There's no right answer. The long and the short of it is that I was actually somebody that everybody hated unitedly. I was military police, so I hated my guts completely, and everybody just united against us, and they're like, "Fuck, F the police." So,
right. So you're like kind of like Dean Wormer there. If you get that reference from Animal House, right there. Anybody see that? That right there. Oh, Dean Wormer's he's walking in. We gotta behave. There's the MPs. So yeah.
You know what the irony is too is that for all the hate that we got, we actually caused more problems than other soldiers. Like we had a barracks party one time on a third floor. I lived on a third floor, and our guys from our company had to show up twice. They're like, all right, man. The first time they're like, hey, man, y'all got to keep it down. It's late. It's Saturday night. It's fine, but y'all got to keep it down. Y'all being rowdy. Anyway, they showed up again. They're like, dudes, seriously, if we have to come back, there's going to be an NCO involved, which is basically everybody's supervisor. And it was like, yeah, we did some rowdy stuff. It wasn't as usually cops play more jokes than you would realize. They look squeaky clean on the outside, and most of the time, I mean, they really are. But let's just say that even in the civilian world, when I did it for a little while before the housing crash of 2012, there was a guy that sprayed pepper spray in the vents of a patrol vehicle, and then the next guy turned the AC on, and well, you can imagine what happened after that.
Yeah, there you go. Good times, I'm sure. Good times, and
oh yeah, we were always in trouble.
Sure, everything was. Yeah, sure, life was great at that point right there. So yeah, where were you stationed at? Like, how long were you in, and where were you stationed?
I was in for 3 years. I was stationed at Fort Lost in the Woods, Missouri, also known as Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Oh, sure.
And it's the heat, the humidity, and then of course the extreme, snow was very drastic on the contrast of just ping ponging.
Sure.
Also, the mosquitoes sounded like helicopters coming in, so because they were so huge. But yeah, no, I that's where I did my first stint, and then I went to Heidelberg, Germany, which was it's probably not the same as it is today, but it was a lot of fun. I ended up having a service connected injury, and got booted out after 3 years out of 5, and the rest is history. Tried to swing back into law enforcement, but you know what? My back hurts too much for that crap. I don't want to fight with people anymore.
You didn't feel like getting like spit in the face by like a spoiled, rotten white sorority girls or anything like that? Or
no. I had a man in a wheelchair spit at me and try to spit in my face. So that was interesting. But no, I've never had a sorority girl try to spit on me.
I'm pissed off at daddy. All right. And yes, I'm getting a good indoctrination in college. Yeah. So I've been taught, the best way to greet a cop is to spit in their face and call them a racist. So there you go.
Well, depending on where you live, yes. I live in Colorado now. I moved back home. Never thought I would do that.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, but yes, Colorado is California light. So,
oh, sure, yeah, exactly.
Be careful what you wish for.
People's Republic of California, so maybe the People's Republic of Colorado there as well. But absolutely, I was in the military too. I was a Zoomie. I was in the Air Force for 4 years, and of course, with basic in San Antonio at Lackland, and then tech school in Pensacola, Florida, for about a year, and then Japan for close to 3 years. There I was in Misawa, in the northern part of Honshu there. So for our mixed training, we had to deal with big cockroaches. So like puppy-sized cockroaches. That was our thing. So yeah, so that was fun. That was fun. So it made doing laundry or being on laundry duty, very interesting right there. I felt like the crocodile, honey, like crikey, look at that beauty right there. With the big old cockroaches and lizards and all of that down there.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I lived in Florida, so as most people you don't know, cockroaches, American cockroaches fly, and they'll fly at your face, and they're like that big. Right. Imagine that thing torpedoing at you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know how many times I came home with groceries and like my face is right there by my front door as I'm walking into my apartment with groceries, and all of a sudden just like my eyes adjust, and all of a sudden I see like a big cockroach right in front of my face, and I scream like a little girl, like, ah! So
I had one land on the back of my neck one time, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I was like, something's tickling me. And I felt, and I grabbed, and I flung, and it was...
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, this is fun. Yeah, Florida was fun. I lived there for 11 years. I'm actually glad to be back in Colorado. The majority of my family is on this side of the U.S. Half my family here in Colorado, the other half in Phoenix, Arizona, which I don't care to visit much, because why would you want to visit hell?
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's that is a good question. That is a pertinent question right there. So, but hey, let's get into some Tombstone. What do you say here? And how long's it been since you've seen Tombstone?
It's been a week. I had my date wrong, so I watched it last Thursday, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the stream, and I'm waiting.
Sure.
And I'm waiting for the link, and I'm like, I screwed something up. Because I've been been busy dealing with a lot of other stuff, and I looked at the date and I'm like, you dumbass.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we all get sidetracked and all that stuff right there. So, but it's. I meant to watch it right before this year, but I don't feel bad. I haven't watched it in probably about a year and all that stuff, but I've seen it so many times that there's no need for me to like watch it like, the day before I do this show or anything like that. So, I mean, I've had it, I bought it on VHS, I've had it on DVD, I've had it on Blu-ray, I have it on 4K now here. So, and just seen it, I mean, so many times. And, so yeah, I've just got all my favorite lines and that kind of thing. So yeah, I didn't really need a refresher, or I didn't need to cram for this, Movies Merica test right there. But do you have like a favorite line from Tombstone?
It's probably most people's favorite line, and I think the person who steals the show, if you want my honest opinion, it's Val Kilmer.
Sure.
You know what? There was some hate for his Batman when it came out, but you know what? Going forward, that fucker looks like a classic now. Yeah, but when he first says, he's like, "Oh, I'm your Huckleberry,"
Sure.
and then he says it again later.
Yeah, right.
And it was just Val Kilmer's performance. It just stole the show.
Hmm.
And you have to realize what this was 94, 93,
93.
Yep. He filmed Top Gun in 1986.
Right.
That's not that long to hone your craft. And I don't really think he was in that many movies in between, because I think Top Gun was one of his first ones ever, right?
It was, yeah. And then he did Willow after that. So that was a Ron Howard movie. And then what else would he
I think
would
I've
have
ever
been
seen
in?
that one.
Yeah, he was. He played Jim Morrison in The Doors. So that was between Top Gun and Tombstone.
Okay.
And Thunderheart. There's another one. This is the movie maniac, the freedom fueled film fanatic coming out of me, the big nerd. But yeah, Thunderheart. He was in that one as well.
Seen any of them.
Yeah, that is worth watching. Yeah, Thunderheart's really really damn good in that one. So, but yeah, I mean, his Iceman character in Top Gun is completely different, obviously, than Doc
absolutely.
His Iceman character. I mean, like I think like the script in Top Gun didn't really give his character a whole lot of depth. He was like just the asshole, number one guy at Top Gun. He was basically just supposed to be just Maverick's antagonist. The guy that you're like, I hope Iceman crashes and burns, and hope Maverick and Goose take it. And that so his character was very shallow, very surface level compared to Doc Holliday, where Doc Holliday, he's got depth and heft to his character right there. You could tell that like Val Kilmer did a lot of research into Doc Holliday, and of course, obviously Doc Holliday's a real character, so he had plenty of source material to study up on. Tom Iceman Kazansky in Top Gun is not a real character, so he had to invent his history right there. But yeah, you can definitely tell the growth between when he was in Top Gun and when he was in Tombstone. Now, the first time I ever saw Val Kilmer was in his first movie called Top Secret, which came out in 1984. And Top Secret, that was it was by the same guys who did Airplane and The Naked Gun, the Zucker brothers, and then Jim Abrahams. And so it was so they had done Airplane and Airplane 2 and then the Police Squad TV show. And then they wanted to do their take on like James Bond movies, the little spoof on James Bond movies. So they came up with this movie called Top Secret. And Val Kilmer, he played the lead character called Nick Rivers, who was like this American rock and roll star / surfer. And he goes to East Germany, back when there was an East Germany, to be like the American performer at this cultural culture festival that East Germany's putting on to distract from the fact that they're going to try to nuke like America or something like that. And so when he goes over to Germany, he becomes embroiled in this just this plot of intrigue with East Germany. But it's an hilarious movie, and it just, if you watch it, you'll be like, you'll watch Val Kilmer, and you're like, that's a star, that's a future star right there. That guy's going to be good, even though he's just doing kind of a spoof role like Frank Drebin, or Robert Hayes in the Airplane movies right there. But I thought it was funny that, and this is just me being a stupid nerd, but I thought it was funny he was in a movie called Top Secret in 84, and then 2 years later he was in a movie called Top Gun. So I don't know, just
I mean, there's some irony to that. I mean, they obviously saw something because, again, obviously Top Gun is not based on real characters, but it is based on a real weapons fighter school.
Sure.
So I mean, now they didn't. The actors didn't have to do what they did for Top Gun Maverick,
No.
We have Tom Cruise to thank for that because the dude is top notch, a little insane, and we love him for
Yeah.
it. But the original movie is such a cult classic at this point
Oh, yeah.
that I mean, he shined in a way that he became such a versatile actor that he did Tombstone and then he did Batman. And
Yep.
then the only reason he couldn't do Batman again, Batman and Robin, which was a terrible movie,
Right.
because he wasn't available and they didn't want to wait for him. They put George Clooney in there, and it's like,
Right.
okay, well, great.
Yeah.
That was a great decision.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think Val Kilmer made the right decision. Well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because the movie that he turned down, the Batman sequel that he was supposed to be in, was the Island of Dr. Moreau, which was a big bomb. He was in that with Marlon Brando.
Yep.
And so that's the thing with Val Kilmer. He's very eclectic. He likes to do the unexpected. He didn't want to do Top Gun because he came from a family that's very anti-military, and he didn't want to do he doesn't like doing movies with guns and action. Obviously when he was still with us there, so he didn't want to do Top Gun, and then Top Gun, of course, turned out really elevate his profile with casting directors and that kind of thing. So Tom Cruise also didn't want to do Top Gun either at first because he wanted John Travolta to play Maverick first. And then he didn't want to do it.
I think I've heard that. I didn't know that was a real rumor.
Yeah, John Travolta was supposed to be up for it. So the studio wanted John Travolta. So,
well, my face said everything. It's kind of like, no, John Travolta was not even close to right. Don't get me wrong. I like some John Travolta, but I don't think he fits.
I can't picture it.
Swordfish for me was a little bit of a stretch, and I'm sorry, it just was. I look at John Travolta and I'm like going, yeah, I've seen the movie because you sing Grease Lightning and my parents love it, and I can't see you being a sociopathic homicidal killer. It's like
right, yes, exactly, yeah.
Let alone a fighter pilot.
Yeah, he's Mr. Summer Lovin'. Come on, exactly.
So I was just, I thought that was always a rumor. I didn't know that's legitimate. But then again, I mean, you had two dudes who are unknown. I mean, Tom Cruise wasn't really known. Val Kilmer, not really known. I know we're talking about different movies, but anyway, catapulting to see Val Kilmer go on into Tombstone and do what he did with it. Mm-hmm. He played it, in my opinion, perfectly because he looked like he was extremely ill, but also intoxicated all the time. But he was also extremely articulate and smart in the same way. And you're like, I mean, you were in the military. How many times have you been drunk off your ass? And you're like, are you really going to be that articulate? Could you spout stuff?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then have tuberculosis on top of that. So
yes, which TB killed people for I mean, all the way up until the 60s, early 60s.
Something like that, yeah. And then I think like in places like LA, it's coming back, because of like the homeless problem and stuff like that. So I mean, you're getting like some medieval age, diseases coming back because of the homeless problem. But anyway, to Tombstone, it's like, Val Kilmer, he was a method actor. Around the Tombstone set, he did go around and he did act like Doc Holliday for most of the time right there. And so that's what I liked about Val Kilmer. I mean, that's why he was one of the most respected actors I liked, is because he took his craft seriously. He didn't half-ass anything. Sure, he made some interesting decisions as far as movies he was going to be in. I mean, like The Saints and The Island of Dr. Moreau and doing these movies where I'm like, why did he take that? Because if you look at look at rumors, like what movies he could have done instead of like some of these other movies that he ended up doing, you're like, what the hell? But when he did do a movie, he gave it his all. And you can't say that. I mean, you can't say that about every actor, but with Doc Holliday, I mean, he found his own dialect coach for that, and then he had his dialect coach like find how Doc Holliday would talk, because Doc Holliday was from Georgia and he was like part of aristocracy. His family had money in Georgia, and then now, like all those families, a lot of them died in the Civil War, so it's kind of like a dead dialect. That dialect that he adopted in Tombstone. So he had to find his dialect coach had to find like videos and audio tapes of people back when they were alive talking that way from that area of Georgia. And so he would like watch these videos or listen to those tapes and adopt that dialect. And I'm going to play a Val Kilmer video here in a little bit. where he explains that and he talks about that. So, but
Okay.
I just thought that was very cool.
I have to be honest. I never considered myself a massive Val Kilmer fan because again, he wasn't the antagonist. He was what's the best way to put it? I'm missing the term. I'm having a brain lapse. Anyway, he wasn't the antagonist because technically, well, we know who the antagonists were, but he was this speed bump that our hero Maverick had to get past because he was considered the best. His arrogance was also his downfall. So anyway, but when I was a kid, when I first saw Batman Forever, I didn't realize that was the same person. And I saw Batman Forever because it was a lot more friendly than, like, say, Tombstone was. Because I was born in late 85, August 85. I mean, that should tell you something. I was less than 1 year old when Top Gun came out. But no, I've grown into a Val Kilmer fan because of what he has done. He has made some of the most incredible movies ever, some that still hold up to this day. People go, you say Val Kilmer, you think of Top Gun. You think of Tombstone, you think of Batman Forever, you think of Top Gun Maverick, and it's like these are all movies that did massively well, regardless of the criticism, because I don't think the critics liked Top Gun.
No, they did not. No, they found it very surface level, very shallow. Yeah,
yeah, but the fans loved it. I mean, it became this huge thing that.
Yeah.
And again, when Top Gun Maverick came out, who would have thought that 30 years later we needed a sequel? I would have said no.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
I did say no, and then I was like, going, okay, well, we might need one.
Right. Yeah. Well, when I heard about the airplane, the jet technology that they're going to use, like the camera technology that they're going to use in there, I was like on board, But before that, I was like, I mean, I should take that back. I was always wanting a Top Gun sequel because I figured that the reason Tom Cruise was delayed so long is because he was waiting for the technology to catch up, where we could see eye-popping visuals like we ended up seeing in Top Gun Maverick. Like, he could have made a sequel in 2004, but they just didn't have the camera technology thought up then, right? And so, I remember, like, because that movie came out it was filmed in 2019, but because of COVID, it didn't come out till 2021, 2022.
I think it was.
I remember at the start of that movie, everyone was coming out with their most anticipated movies of 2021 or 2022, and for a lot of critics, Top Gun Maverick was not even anywhere close to the top of their list, or even on the list at all, because a lot of like critics in Hollywood, they're like anti-military and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so they called it American propaganda.
Yeah, they call it America, even though it's like, well, newsflash, there, critics. The military is pretty much the only reason that, or the major reason that China's not coming over here and calling us out on all our debt right there, because they know that they would, they'd have to face our military right there. So slow your roll and have a little respect, or at least don't talk shit about our military. Have a little appreciation right there.
Well, the thing is that, and this goes for Tombstone also, is that it's just a fun movie. It doesn't have a political message to it. It's the same reason they probably don't consider, if you were asked a modern critic, they were like on Tombstone, what? They wouldn't consider it a classic, kind of like they wouldn't consider Top Gun Maverick to be what's going to be one day a classic in 20, 30 years.
Sure.
For the same reason, because it doesn't have a message, and quite frankly, it doesn't need a message. It's the Old West. It's Tombstone, Arizona. I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. It's hot as hell. Everything sucks. Everybody's sweaty all the time. And it's a giant desert. So I mean, they portrayed Tombstone perfectly, and I think the casting for everybody, because if you look at everybody in the movie, everybody in that movie became somebody, and they came somebody big.
Yeah, I mean, there's like several actors in that movie where they went on to, lead movies themselves. Like Bill Paxton, for instance. I mean, he became, a bigger, big star right there. I mean, who else? What could I say? Like, I don't know. Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Kurt Russell. Well, obviously, Kurt Russell was a big star. Even before
Sam
that.
Elliott to this day is still a giant meme where he just, ma'am, and he tips his hat. Like, that's a meme on Twitter you can find. Bill Paxton went on to do Twitter, and that is, again, that is another blockbuster movie that is a cult
sure.
classic, that is beloved, and it is in the zeitgeist of YouTubers react to, who are, well, they're not millennials, because I'm technically considered an old millennial, but Gen Z YouTubers, they watch it and they go, oh, and they're like, how are their special effects so good in 1997?
Right.
96.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, I mean, like Billy Bob Thornton. Billy Bob Thornton was also in Tombstone there, and he's led movies himself too. He's obviously still a big hit on Landman right now, and he had a bit part there as Johnny Tyler, for a little bit there. I mean, I think that's the first movie I ever saw Billy Bob Thornton in. And then I saw him next. He was like in Sling Blade, and I'm like, what, the kind of fat guy from Tombstone, Johnny Tyler, and then now you see him, he's like rail thin and that kind of thing. But yeah, he's another guy that, was in Tombstone, and, he carried a movie there. Thomas Haden Church. He was, I don't think he's carried a movie by himself, but, he was like in Sideways with Paul Giamatti. And, Thomas Haden Church, one of those guys where like, a lot of people don't know his name, but they see him like, oh, that guy. Okay, yeah. He played Sandman in Spider-Man 3, so yeah.
Well, he was in one of the most, probably one of the most iconic, in a sense of launching the sitcom genre, of Wings. He played
Wings,
Lowell.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Wings Lowell or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, his name was Lowell.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a huge part of that. The show went on for like 7 years, and it was before, because it was still very early 90s. Sure. And it's something that's still considered to this day. Like, people are like, oh, I want to watch an old sitcom. What should I watch? They're going to go Married with Children. They're going to go with Seinfeld. They're going to go with Wings. They're going to go with Friends. They're going to go. These are all 90s things, or late 80s, that just are staples that people tell you to go watch, because you know what? It's just funny. And I have the Wings box set. It's still funny to this day.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Wings, because it was created by the writers of Cheers, because it was basically Cheers was a big hit. And then you had the three writers from Cheers came in. And they're like, hey, we need, like, I think NBC was like, we need another show to follow Cheers. And it's like, and I think they went to these guys, from Cheers, like, hey, you guys are, I think they had the idea, right? NBC wanted another show. And then the writers had the idea, and NBC was like, "Oh, great! Oh, hey, okay, all right. Hey, oh, this is what your idea is." And then I think they heard that it was like in a small New England airport, and NBC didn't get it. They're like, "Wait, how do you film that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, how's that going to look on TV?" And then they had to build the studio. They had to build the set of the small airport and get the actors in there and walk around and show NBC, like, this is what it's going to be like. And they're like, "Oh, okay, it's just Cheers in an airport." Okay, yeah.
Pretty much. Never actually thought of it that way, but yeah, you're 100% right. It's Cheers in an airport, and it's hysterical.
Oh yeah, it is.
I mean, I got to be honest. Now that we're talking about it, I should go back and rewatch it. I mean, there's so many sitcoms that were spun off of these staples. Cheers, Married with Children. Hell, I mean, I remember Mad About You with Helen Hunt. She was in Twister with Bill Paxton, and I mean. Their names are cemented. So, I mean, they, in my opinion, 80s, 90s, they just don't make movies like they used to. And that goes for Tombstone. There's, I don't feel like there's the same heart as in it.
No,
it's just
there's not. I mean, and that's a great thing. That's one thing I love about movies, especially the old ones like that. I'm glad that we still have, we can still go back and watch these movies, from, the 80s and 70s and 60s and that kind of thing. And it's like a time capsule from those days, right? And you're right, they looks totally different. I mean, the lighting was different. They shot on film mostly. The frame rates were different there. I mean, the framing, all that stuff was completely different. And they have that movie feel to them, right? Nowadays, like a lot of movies just have that same cookie cutter look to them, that dead, especially if you watch like a Netflix movie. It looks dead and lifeless and gray and depressing, and doesn't have that epic film, like that richness, to it there. I mean, like one example that just comes to mind is who Adrian Lyne is. He's a director. He did like 9.5 Weeks and Fatal Attraction. and it was like Someone to Watch Over Me. Like, no, he didn't do that one. Anyway, but
Never
like
seen
Fatal
9.5
Attraction.
Weeks, but I've
Fatal
seen
Attraction
Fatal
is one of
Attraction.
Adrian Lyne's most famous movie. You watch that movie now, you're like, oh my God, this movie looks so fucking amazing. It's like, it's just rich and
Well, it
deep
was an
and
art
the
form.
colors and all that pop and all that stuff. It's very, very cool.
It was an art form. It wasn't cookie cutter. And look at something that because I just watched the Scrubs revival where they brought back the original cast. It's just Scrubs 2.0 in a sense. It stays true to the original cast, the way it was filmed, and that was a show that came out in 2001, which took from the 90s and carried it. It just did it in a different style because 90s sitcoms were filmed in 4 cameras. So Scrubs did an episode called My Life in 4 Cameras, where they filmed it like a classic part of it in a 90s sitcom. And that style has been so popular for so long. I know a lot of people kind of bash on it because like, oh, they have the laugh track. A lot of them are filmed in front of a live audience. They just because they cut out the audio and they add the audience's laughter in later. Because there is there is a little bit of a barrier there. But anyway, long story short, most 90s sitcoms were filmed in front of a live studio audience. That's what they used to say.
Right.
If you remember, like, this is performed in front of a live studio audience. And it's like, it's one of the reasons everybody loved it. And you'd hear the cheers, and not just the show, but like cheers from the audience in the stands who are watching the actors. Yes, they're going to go through it. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to have to like recut, reset, like, oh, and they didn't get to a joke. And then all of a sudden they get the joke and then the audience goes crazy. But I don't know. From what I've heard from anybody who's watched the Scrubs revival in today's world, because everything is so garbage and it's just not good to watch, that something that is Scrubs was a very popular show. Was it Friends? Was it Cheers? No. Was it MASH? Remember MASH?
Oh, yeah.
The only show that was actually had higher ratings than Seinfeld and Friends ever did.
Right.
Because it was number 1 and Seinfeld was number 2 and Friends number 3. Sitcoms ever. Yeah, I know a lot about TV. Sorry, dude.
No, dude. Hey, right there with you, man. Talk, man. Yeah, go for it.
So it's one of those things that it's like, it's one of the only good things on television that's modern that I'll watch. That and The Rookie on NBC. So it's like, just everything else is just not good. Been watching the final season of The Boys. I'm not towards the end yet. I still have I think 3 episodes or 2.5. It's just, I don't know. Everything is just so dripping with politics,
right?
And just weird stuff too from Hollywood, bro. Homelander's obsession with well, you know what? I don't understand. That doesn't sound like a normal person fetish. That sounds like a Hollywood fetish. His obsession. I don't know if you've ever watched The Boys.
I've seen like the first 2 seasons. I saw when Homelander was lusting after like Elizabeth Shue and all that, and it had that weird kind of, he wanted to be like breastfeeding and all that stuff. It was like that weird fetish thing going on, and I don't. That's what you're referring to, but I found that to be weird. So yeah.
Oh, it's mess. I forgot about that, and I told my mom, and I'm like, Jensen Ackles, you love Jensen Ackles. He was in Supernatural. I'm like, he's great. And from season 4 to season 3, he was in season 3 into season 5. I'm like, you love Jensen Ackles. It's a weird twist on superheroes and stuff like that. And I'm like, you might love it. And we started watching the first season. And we got to that first scene, and I was just like, oh God, this is not something that mom should watch. I'm like, I'm so creeped out right now. She's like, this is weird. And I'm like going, yeah, no, I'm weirded out. It's a lot more weird now.
Yeah, that's Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg there. That doing The Boys and or is it just Seth Rogen? I can't remember. It's, one of those guys is associated with it right there, and I think they have somebody else.
Yeah, also
with them as well right there. But yeah, it's all about it's being all about being subversive about superheroes and all that stuff. But the thing is, by the time The Boys came out, that had been done to death. It's like now that's the new norm, is to be subversive about superheroes. If someone were to come out with a Christopher Reeve style Superman right now that would be the oddball. That would be that would be the counterculture. And the culture now is, superheroes. Oh, they're goody two shoes. Now let's subvert the superhero culture. That's the norm,
it's tired, and people are tired of it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like we're tired of actors trying to be too cute by half, and filmmakers trying to be too smart, and like acting smarter than they actually are. We're going to subvert everybody's expectations. We could make we could make Achilles in a new Christopher Nolan movie. We could hire Henry Cavill, but that would be too predictable. Let's go get some dipshit, and I don't believe it's going to be Ellen Page, and I refuse to call her Elliott Page. It's not going to
Yeah,
be her, but
I don't think it's going to be her either.
they're going to get somebody, probably Timothy. Well, it's not Timothy Chalamet, but it's too late for that. But it's just all about trying to be be smart and trying to be cute and subverting expectations. I'm tired of it.
Well, yeah, it's about supposedly breaking this glass ceiling that supposedly exists. It's why they Lupita, whatever her name is, from the Black Panther.
Nyong'o Lupita, yeah,
right. Yeah, I can't remember what her name is. I don't really care. I don't think she's that good of an actress.
Behind Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith at the Oscars.
Yeah,
not believing her eyes when Will Smith walked up there and slapped the shit out of her face, like it's hilarious when you watch that all go down, and Lupita Nyong'o's sitting behind Jada Pinkett Smith. She's like,
yeah. That's probably the most acting I think I've ever seen her doing anything, because everything I've ever seen her in, I don't think she's good.
And she's good in like the movies that I'm not gonna totally trash. She's good in some movies right there, but she just doesn't belong. She shouldn't be Helen of Troy.
No.
I like somebody said, well, we want Helen of Troy, not Helen of Detroit.
I haven't seen that one.
I mean, she was good, like 12 Years a Slave. That was the movie that put her on the map right there, where she played this slave, back in the slave days. She was really good in that, man. But there's roles that she should not have access to. I mean, like, you wouldn't want to have like, I don't know, like Tom Cruise, playing, some black sharecropper, right? Because he's not. It doesn't make sense. He's not black. He's white, right? So yeah.
I'm still petitioning for Ryan Gosling to be White Panther.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Exactly. Yeah.
I actually,
there we go. My God.
I actually do like Ryan Gosling as an actor. He is actually very good. But no, it's the last Helen of Troy we had was with Brad Pitt as Achilles, and you had Hector was, and
Eric Bana.
Thank you, Eric Bana, and they did such an incredible job. And Diane Kruger had such a small part in it. I mean, she has a big role, but she had such a small part. What stole the show was Eric Bana and Brad Pitt. Yep. You have two incredible actors, and they just went ham.
Oh yeah,
with on screen.
Yep, exactly. And Helen of Troy, like Diane Kruger, she's beautiful enough to where I would imagine, because it's not that all Greeks had to find her beautiful. It's that Paris had to find her beautiful, and Menelaus had to find her beautiful. Worth it to launch a war, and then Agamemnon as well. So they say she has the face that launched 1,000 ships. Well, yeah, she only needed Menelaus and Paris to do what they did to start the war. And Diane Kruger is more than adequately hot enough to play Helen of Troy. Lupita Nyong'o, like you were mentioning there, not so much. So I mean, I think she's kind of. I mean, I find beauty in all skin colors there. I find hotness in all kinds of. I think she's kind of attractive right there, but not Helen of Troy attractive. So
no, and she's attractive in her own right for her own roles. But and I'm not saying that it's something I'm going to be like, I think she's like, that's unfair. She is attractive, but is she my speed? No. Does she work as somebody in a Greek epic? No, like not even a little. It doesn't even make any sense.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. I like Timothy Chalamet doesn't belong in the sequel to Boys in the Hood. I mean, unless he's playing some racist cop or something like that. But it can't be. It can't be one of the boys, from the hood. That would be wrong. That doesn't make sense.
I kind of find him hard to be believable in the Dune movies, but that's just me. I know a lot of people appreciate what he's done, but I think Timothy Chalamet is just very girly. Then again, I don't like Zendaya either. But I like Zendaya more than I like Timothée Chalamet, and
Oh, that's saying something.
I think she's done a pretty good job as playing MJ. She's not Mary Jane; she's
MJ,
different.
right?
But I have think she's done a good job in the Spider-Man movies. Now, again, is it 100% the way I would have done it? No, but
Oh.
is she attractive? Yes. I thought
yeah,
she was incredible in The Greatest Showman. I love that movie.
No, okay,
Dude.
yeah, with Hugh Jackman. Yep.
Yeah, and you know what? Who would ever thought that? What's his nuts? Zac Efron.
Oh,
His
sure.
performance in that movie. Anyway, my parents showed me that movie. They're like, "Have you ever seen The Greatest Showman?" I came home from Florida. I still live in Florida then. And I came home for Christmas. They're like, "Have you ever seen this movie?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Why?" And that was my face because I'm like, "Okay, like
Yeah,
great."
right.
Musical. I'm like, I don't mind musicals, but I'm like, it doesn't interest me.
Sure.
What a phenomenal movie.
Oh yeah.
It just. But anyway, that's.
I don't mind musicals either. Like I'm secure enough in my manhood. I'll watch a musical there. I mean, like it's not really a musical, but Song Sung Blue just came out recently. That's another Hugh Jackman movie where he plays like a Neil Diamond cover singer there, or a Neil Diamond impersonator, or whatever you want to phrase it. And that's a good movie. So, but it's a musical in the sense that there's a lot of scenes where he's performing Neil Diamond stuff right there. So, or Les Miserables, another Hugh Jackman movie right there. That's a musical right there. I thought that musical was pretty good.
One of my favorite movies of all time is Titanic. I love the history of the ship. So that's one reason it's one of my favorites. But I gotta be honest, the love story's not too shabby either.
Right.
Another kind of like goofy, movie that I like was Will Smith and Rachel McAdams in that Eurovision movie. I have never heard of Eurovision until I watched this movie, and I fell in love with Eurovision. It's one of the reasons I actually started doing reaction videos on my main channel. Not LegionTalk, but Legion Games. They turned it from a video game channel. Still do video games, but it's like anyway. But yeah, I think we've negated probably Tombstone for long enough.
Right, exactly. I was going to say we're going to go back to that here because we're talking about like old movies. How they're kind of nice little time capsules from back in the day. But I think like now, talking about not Tombstone, but like westerns from back in the 50s or 60s. I think like a lot of people nowadays would actually fall asleep if they watched a western from the 50s or 60s. And I wouldn't, but I mean, but I know a lot of people would just because they are slower paced. They didn't have as much action back then. I mean, when someone gets shot, there's no blood squibs or anything like that. It's not back to back action. And when Tombstone came out, I mean, by that time we had Lethal Weapon and Rambo movies and Die Hard, and so when Tombstone came out, like you couldn't have a western that it couldn't be the Sons of Katie Elder or Rio Bravo. It had to have that intense 80s, 90s intense action. I don't think Joel Silver or Mel Gibson and Danny Glover and all those movies, right? So Commando and Predator and shit like that, and and sure, if you bring out a western, if you produce and release a western in the 90s, like if you wanted to throw in some romance, maybe a little drug use, some laughs here or there, like go right ahead, but the action better be taking charge, okay? And I think Tombstone answered that call, because it had like its fantastically brutal massacres, it had the intense six-shooter showdowns. What that scene where Kurt Russell is in the middle of the pond and he's going after Curly Bill. I call it that shotgun shimmy there, and then of course the gunfight at the OK Corral. I mean, so you have to have like big action set pieces like that in a western nowadays. It can't be a slow burn like the spaghetti westerns. I mean, like I'll watch spaghetti westerns all day long, but I think attention spans just nowadays will not allow for that.
I would definitely kind of agree, and I even think that Tombstone it still actually has some pretty slow burning because you got some pretty big moments toward the somewhat middle and the end. But it's basically about building in this world of Tombstone, Arizona, which is it's infamous. I don't think I actually probably know an old Western town that's probably more infamous than Tombstone.
Yeah, maybe Dodge City, but I'd say Tombstone's more famous than Dodge City.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a tourist attraction to this day that literally the whole entire town literally the whole main street, so many bars are actually still set up in the original buildings. They do small repairs to, and I had a friend that went there. I mean, Adam from Vets
Oh, yeah,
Talking.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he did a ghost hunt there, and he went there physically on his own, and stuff like that. And he had a couple people on a live stream and stuff like that. I was running basically the chat, and kind of pulling things up while he was there. But like, there's weird stuff that happens there because I mean, it's literally such a historic town, and so much has happened there. It is literally the epitome of the classic Old West, and everybody has heard of the OK Corral for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's funny. There's been so many depictions of the gunfight at the OK Corral. Like I think they had when the movie literally called the gunfight at OK Corral, where like you have some guys are hiding behind a Conestoga wagon, and some guys are hiding behind a fence right there. It's like that's not at all what the OK Corral looked like.
No,
and like this one, it's a little bit more wide open as far as the OK Corral. They still got the gulch. And then they've got it's all surrounded, except for obviously the entrance to it there. I thought like the movie Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner that came out the next year in '94. I thought that had like probably the best out of these two movies, the best representation of the OK Corral, because the entrance to it is like a little thinner, it wasn't quite as wide open as it is in Tombstone.
Yeah.
Now, as the wider open it is, the better for filming there. But I think the Wyatt Earp got it a little closer to what it actually looked like. But I like the actual gunfight though in Tombstone better, because it just just that part where they're facing off, and then I like it right off the bat where there's like Wyatt and Virgil and Morgan and Doc are just standing there. And also, I can't remember which one of the Cowboys like go to grab their pistol, but all of a sudden, like you see Virgil, he reaches back, he's like, "Not what I want," And they're still standing there like at their face off, and you're thinking like maybe, I mean, this history, it does pop off, but you're thinking for a second like, hey, maybe this thing isn't going to go, and then they show Doc Holliday wink at Clanton, and not Ike Clanton, but Clanton's brother. And then
you see him flinch.
You see him flinch. Yeah, he sees like that Clanton guy's eyes go dead.
Yeah, and then Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp, he goes, "Oh God," he knows what's going to happen.
Right.
And I mean, the four men cleaned up. I mean, they cleaned house. They cleaned house hard. Because Adam actually went to the OK Corral and stuff like that. It's more of a very kind of small little kind of like I think Tombstone did a pretty good representation compared to a lot of stuff in the past. Sure. I barely remember Wyatt Earp, but I do know that it's not like walking down the main street to a dead end. It is much more compact, and that's what made it so deadly, is because it's what we refer to in the military, and you were in that, is called the fatal funnel. Y'all are in the funnel, and that's why so many people got just wrecked.
Oh yeah, it's like a kill box basically.
Yeah, pretty much kill box with a fatal funnel. It's you got to come in this way, and they're looking at you, and you're looking at them, and you're going, okay, well, there's only one way out. You can't go that way. If you go that way, you're going to get shot in the back. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, I like how Ike Clanton, he's like, because not all of the Cowboys were armed. I think 2 of the 4 were armed. The 4 that stuck around, because they had, like, if you watch Tombstone, I think there's like 5 or 6 guys there when they first roll up on the OK Corral. And
I think
a couple of Cowboys, like, they run in the back because there was like a fence or a door or something that they could run out of.
It didn't like a 7th guy show up or something like that after the gun. I mean, because there was like 5 in the beginning. It was 5 on 4. And then I think 2 guys showed up out of the back or something like that, because they kind of came into the fray.
Yeah. I think it was like 5 Cowboys, and then obviously 4,
and then you had Ike, who's like, I'm unarmed, and he ran into like the store, and then all of a sudden he's like, out the window.
He steals what's his name? Biehn or whatever the hell his name is. He steals his pistol, starts shooting out he crashes his arm through the window, and then he starts shooting, from the side. He basically flanks Wyatt, Virgil and Morgan and Doc Holliday there. But I mean, it's And what did they? I think someone's count is like they unloaded like what 30, 40 rounds in like 30 seconds or something like that. These are all like with single action pistols, right? So and shotguns.
Yeah. So I mean, they I believe there was 2 scatter guns, or at least one. Virgil had one, right?
Virgil had, yeah. So Virgil had the cane thing. Well, no, he had a pistol because he originally had the shotgun, and he gave the shotgun Doc. So because before they were going down there, like I think like Wyatt was like they might be less skittish if Doc Holliday is on the street howitzer. I think that's what Wyatt Earp called the shotgun, a street howitzer. So I think he was thinking like, well, he wants to de-escalate the situation. So if Doc with TB, the guy coughing blood everywhere, has a shotgun, it's going to seem a little less hostile, maybe. And then if Virgil, because Virgil was a more renowned lawman than Wyatt Earp. Virgil had been a lawman longer than Wyatt Earp, and so if Virgil walks up with just like this little cane thing, maybe then that's going to be a little less.
Okay, yeah, that actually, it does ring a bell because, and again, they'd already established that, that Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer's character, he was never intimidated by anything. He never broke. He never broke almost, I guess, his own character. I would almost call him a character of who he was because he just portrayed the same thing no matter what. Right. It was always this sophisticated kind of like almost sarcasm with slight humor involved, depending on what he did and on what yield. And so the humor part came in, when of course, he was challenged and he took that little shot glass and he's like,
oh yeah.
And he's doing that. And he's slinging it around. It's like, bro, you did it with a pistol. I can't remember that character's name, but
Johnny Ringo. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. Ringo. Yep. Johnny Ringo. Yeah. Johnny Ringo did it with a pistol. It's very impressive. Doc Holliday did it with a shot glass.
Yeah. And Michael Biehn learned how to do that for real. So
yeah. And I believe they both did.
Yeah. Cause if you watch like, behind the scenes footage on the set of Tombstone, you see Val Kilmer just walking around waiting to do his scene, and he's flipping pistols all over the place. So
so it's something that it took 2 guys being dedicated to their craft, and God bless them both because they stole the show in a lot of ways. But they were mirror opposites, right? Because it was like if Doc Holliday had went down a different path, then he would have been Ringo.
Oh, right, right, exactly. And oddly enough, if you read history, Doc Holliday was a dentist at one point.
Yes, he was. But to watch literally like with the thing and not just the pistol was very impressive. Right, just with that little shot guy. It looked like a little, kind of like what you would take to pour cream, like in today's world. But it was a shot glass then. And he's just like, and he was like, and he put it down, and it's like, bro, you got schooled and embarrassed bad. And it's just it's a comedic moment. But at the same time, it's also very serious because these 2 dudes already want to kill each other.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're threatening each other in Latin.
Yes.
I mean, at that point, because like the last thing that Val Kilmer that Doc says in Latin is "rest in peace." So he's ready to throw down. And then I can't remember what it was. I think like the town marshal comes in. Hey, we don't want trouble in any language. I think that kind of simmered things down a little bit there.
I did find it interesting that the town had a marshal, and then of course there was a county sheriff, and the sheriff's like going, "I'm only dealing with county business, city stuff," and it's like, what? Like, I'm like,
he's a total coward. He turned out, he was like basically like a sympathizer to the Cowboys. Oh, there you go.
And he was very, very dressed well. He had a cane. He looked like he had a lot more money than he probably should have, being a county sheriff. Quite frankly, I'd almost actually assume that the town marshal, being Tombstone being a huge mining town, would have had more money than the town. I'm sorry, the county sheriff.
Sure. Yep. Exactly.
So, but no, he was nothing but useless. And then, of course, when they became town marshals, he was like, "I'm going to arrest all of you." And he's like, "No, you're not."
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah."
This
No,
town
Biehn,
business.
I don't think I'll let you arrest us today. So
yeah,
yep.
this town business. Go away.
Yep, exactly. Get the hell out of here. So yeah, because Biehn was a total pussy. Now speaking of someone who was not a total pussy in there, obviously that was Doc Holliday, and I got a nice little Val Kilmer video here when he was on the Tom Green show way back in the day here, and this is that video I was kind of teasing a little earlier, where Val Kilmer gives us a little background into like how he came up with how Doc Holliday sounds right here. So I'm gonna play that right now here. So enjoy. And it's not very long, so.
I think it works and ended up being successful because there was a lot of passion about the story. And Kevin Jarre, who got fired as a director, who wrote it, really put together a wonderful cast. About 10 of those guys can all and have been leads in films and done very well.
How do you come up with that voice? I remember that movie. I remember it from when it came out. I remember it. I remember walking out of it thinking that, oh my God, Val Kilmer. The whole. You ended up getting what, whooping cough or something, right?
He was a lunger. That's what they called him.
Yeah.
But he was dying of lung disease. The dialect came from a friend of mine who's, I think, the best dialect coach in the world, named Tim Monick. And I called him. I said, he's an aristocrat. And they all died, right, from the Civil War. I mean, virtually all those families were gone. And he said, yes. I said, so it's a dead dialect? He said, yes, nobody talks like that anymore. I said, can you find one? He said, yeah, I got a guy. And the tape that he sent me, the man spoke so slowly. We could have a baby before he finished his story. You've gotta come down here and have a mint julep. You've got to see this show. He ran a theater, and I couldn't speak this slowly because it never would have got. The movie would have been 4 hours long.
Right.
So also this deep Southern aristocratic dialect from Georgia, they had strange sounds like that are Canadian.
Yeah.
Like they would say about.
Sure.
They had an O sound, and I couldn't make that sound because it just sounded odd.
Yeah.
Even though it was part of that Southern dialect.
Yeah, so I found that very interesting right there. That was a treat, like him, kind of, giving us a little, look into the past with that, his impression of how he sounded in the movie there.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, he hired his own dialect coach and he did all that stuff he was talking about.
Just the way he transitioned to this, he's like, I'm going to talk like, I mean, I'm not even close to anywhere, but like the way he just did it. And it just started like, and I'm like, you hear it again and you're like, oh, that's so good.
Oh, and it takes you back.
Oh, it's a fantastic movie. I think it's argued. There's not a lot of movies in history. There might be maybe 100 tops that are considered cult classics from when Hollywood started to today's world. And I'm going to say that the majority of the movies that probably didn't make it past the probably 2010s, anything is going to fall into that category. But Tombstone is something that's like if you say, hey man, I was watching Tombstone the other day, or like or somebody says like, I've never seen the movie Tombstone. You go, wait, what?
Yeah, right. Wait, what? What's wrong with you? Yeah, exactly. Were you not alive? Yeah.
Yeah. And there's only a small, it's like going, oh, okay. Well, I mean, I've never seen Die Hard. And you're like going,
right.
Okay. Well, what you're going to do Christmas Eve, you're going to put Die Hard on, you're going to watch it. And they're like,
right.
Is it a Christmas movie? And it's going, right. It's a Christmas movie.
Bet your ass it is. Yeah.
And there's so many, but it's one of those things. It's just like, it's like saying that you've never seen Gone with the Wind. Bro, that's not my speed, but it's Gone with the Wind.
Right.
It's the highest grossing movie in history
of all
ever.
Time. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Like Casablanca. Like if someone says Casablanca, like you never say Casablanca, like if they say they're a movie fan, and if they say they're a movie fan, I'm going to say Casablanca, and I'm like, what? Because I watched it like a week ago again, because Casablanca, I like watch that about once a year because it's that good. Right there, but I'm the same way. Casablanca, Die Hard, same genre. So
one of my favorite descriptions it was in another movie or a television show. I can't remember which one it was. It's escaping me, but it's like Casablanca, but less Nazis, and they're like, oh, okay. And that was on and that's a legitimate quote that I remember to this day, and I need to Google it because I think it's from something else that's actually really popular.
Oh yeah.
It's going to drive me nuts now that I said it. It's like,
oh yeah, I'll buy you some time right there. But yeah, Val Kilmer, I thought that yeah, and if you, I don't know if you ever like, there's this documentary on Amazon Prime called Val. It's a documentary about Val Kilmer, and if you have any doubts about like whether Val took his acting seriously or not, if you're thinking like, oh, he's just a pretty face, he's just pretty boy, a leading man actor, watch that movie Val, or that documentary Val. And you'll see, like, even from the very beginning, because he was in this, like, the same acting classes, and he was going for the same parts as, like, back in the early 80s with Sean Penn and Kevin Bacon. Because if you watch that documentary, there's a lot of old footage from the early 80s where he's just hanging out in, like, dressing rooms with Sean Penn and his Fast Times at Ridgemont, High days, and Kevin Bacon before he hit it big in Footloose. Probably like Kevin Bacon in his Animal House days, that kind of thing. So Friday the 13th, before anybody knew who Kevin Bacon was. And they all took their acting very seriously. Obviously, Sean Penn, too. I mean, he's got, 2.5, 3 Oscars, so, yeah.
I mean, well, you're talking about when actors were, I mean, they were actors. Right. I mean, again, who's probably probably some of the last actual movie stars on this planet? I'd probably say Tom Cruise would be leading the charge. Mm-hmm. I would say Denzel Washington. I would say I know Bruce Willis is still alive, but he can't make movies anymore. But I'd still say Bruce Willis. Like if, fortunately, he's probably not going to be with us much longer.
Unfortunately, not. Yep.
Mel Gibson has started to make a comeback. I mean, people go see the new Mel Gibson movie. Sure. It's like going, I'm going to go see this movie because of said person. Right. Val Kilmer was that kind of person.
Oh yeah,
and
right.
Obviously, he's no longer with us, but I think he stole the show. And again, in Top Gun Maverick, because it's like he's playing a character from a real life perspective who is dying because he was actually dying in real life.
Right.
And Tom Cruise said, I don't want to do the movie if Val Kilmer can't do it. And Val Kilmer says, I'm only going to do it because he's best friends with Tom Cruise. And he's like, I'm going to do it for you. And he's like, I want to do it because he loved the franchise too. And they're both two dudes that are like going, when they were young in their careers, they're like going, I don't know, what is this crap? What is this?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Tom Cruise didn't want to do the movie, and even his people, his people arranged for him to get and do a flight in a F-14 back then, because they thought once he took a flight, he would not want to do the movie. Because at first he didn't want to do the movie. Yeah. Then he was kind of thinking about it, and then they put him in an F-14 Tomcat, and they thought, oh man, he's gonna get so sick, he's gonna like lose his lunch, he's not gonna want to do the movie, and that made him actually want to do the movie. And then Val Kilmer, I don't know if they did the same thing, but something turned Val Kilmer on the Top Gun. Maybe his agent going, hey, you know what? This is going to be a hell of a paycheck. I don't know, but yeah, you're right. They both now love the franchise. So
yeah, well, look how popular Top Gun was that led into the Top Gun Maverick, and now, and I found out about this just like a week ago. There is something that has passed that has went through Congress called the Maverick Act to actually take mothballed F-14 Tomcats, 3 of them that are in museums, get them flying again. And actually make it to where they can go through air shows and stuff like that, because the Navy and the U.S. government scrapped almost everything about them because they were one of the most efficient fighter/bombers in the history of the world. And Iran bought them, and then when Iran turned against us, they said, well, we're not going to do this black market crap. It is still, the F-14A Tomcat is, and I'm going to say probably in the same vicinity as the P-51 Mustang. That's probably the 2 most iconic airplanes in the history of the planet.
Oh, sure, yeah, yep.
I can't think of anything else that is more beloved. I would probably say the 14 wins, probably hands down.
Yeah, I mean, as far as because I mean, in pop culture, I mean, it's I mean, P-50. If you watch World War II movies, I mean, P-51 Mustangs get a lot of.
Well, I mean, Tom Cruise owns a P-51 Mustang. That plane that the P-51 they're in, that's his own personal plane.
That's his own, right.
It's an iconic,
Yeah.
So, but the Maverick Act is a thing that has literally been running through Congress. I believe it passed the Senate just last week, and there is literal talk about bringing back the F-14, 3 of them, to flying condition because it is such an integral part of the pride of this country.
Oh yeah,
and it is iconic around the world.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those like it's a symbol, of America. There, like the bald eagle is a symbol. The American flag is a
Yes.
symbol. That 14 Tomcat is a symbol. It should be a symbol of pride.
Oh.
I mean, because obviously when it was developed, that was cutting edge military technology. Now it's obviously a relic, but it's still beloved. There, it's fantastic, and I love it. I'm sure it's a hit at air shows because when I lived down in Fort Worth, Texas, I had an air show real close to me that they did a couple years ago, or a couple times a year, and like the F-14 Tomcat was one of the biggest highlights of the show. Got the biggest applause there because when you see it, you think of what? Top Gun. You think Maverick. You think Goose.
Yep.
You think Iceman and Slider and all those guys, right? So Miramar. You two characters are going to Top Gun. All that shit. So
I wanted to become a pilot because of that movie. I work in aviation currently. I'm around because we're where I live is a refueling station for the not just for F-18s, but F-16s and so many other military aircraft, C-17 Galaxies, C-31s, C-130s. I'm sorry. I'm frequently near what's called a hot F-18 all the time. That means they don't turn the engines off, and you have to do routine maintenance and refueling and stuff like that while they're sitting there running. It is
wow.
Yeah. So, and we put on an air show every 2 years. And so, no, the whole point of this would be to bring back the F-14 to actually fly in air shows. And I'll tell you what, I'd probably piss my pants if I saw an F-14 in person flying, working in this job, at our airport. I would probably lose it just uncontrollably.
Right.
So,
and of course I got to play Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone while they do it. That's a must, right? You got to do that.
They do it now for what the F-14 doesn't fly anymore, but they do it for other airplanes because it is so iconic. Everybody knows.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, your normal air show attendee, they're not going to know the difference for the most part. So you play, Danger Zone. It still works. It still rocks for them here. Oh, real quick here, while it comes to mind here, as I digress here. So actually, if you guys are enjoying the Tombstone talk, and obviously we're digressing into other movies too, but I don't care. I love discussing movies. We're mostly talking Tombstone, but we're diverting to other movies too. Top Gun right there. But if you are digging what you're hearing here, go ahead and hit the like button. Okay, it's right on down there. Okay, there we go, right on down there. And then also there's a subscribe or follow button down there, and click on that. If you haven't already, if you already have, don't click on it again. You'll unsubscribe and unfollow there. And then we've got the notification bell button down there as well. Click on that. And, if you think like that's going to spam you with 57,000 emails a week, about Movies Merica, worry not, fret not. Okay, it's only going to send you one lowly email a week to let you know that there's a piping hot, fresh, delicious, delectable new Movies Merica coming hot out of the oven for you. Okay, and then lastly, here as I wrap up this not so favorite segment of everybody here, to anybody who's watching this, like the recording of this show, not watching it live. We can still communicate back and forth with each other, all right? But we're just going to have to do it via the comments section, which is also down below there. And get in the comments section, comment about whatever you want. Hey, if you want to let me know your favorite line from Tombstone, who's your favorite character in Tombstone, whatever, or you just want to tell me the show sucks, hey, more power to you. There you go. I got
negative criticism is constructive criticism.
Enough about that. What's that?
I said negative criticism is constructive criticism. I'll tell you.
I love it. To me, negative criticism is just fuel. I love it. It's fuel.
Well, I love people who are like going, when somebody hits the down, the down vote, and it's like going, okay, well, you know what, you're not doing your job, because I just started doing videos again. I've been doing a lot of gaming live streams. I haven't made an actual YouTube video on my LegionTalk channel in a long time, pop culture related or otherwise.
Yeah.
And there's a lot. There might be a little grumpiness between some YouTubers lately because somebody's being a grumpy butthole and flagging channels and taking stuff down, and that's how people make money, which is gross. But anyway, long story short, you know what? a downvote is just as important as an upvote. You know why? Because it's still interaction. Somebody said, you know what, you irritated me, I didn't like it, downvote.
Right.
And it's like you still get feedback for that. You know, whether or not they just want to hate you because they want to hate your opinion, or whether or not they have legitimate criticism, that's another thing too. You know, any interaction is always extremely helpful. And yeah, you know, it's if you get no interaction at all, you get no likes, no downvotes, no comments. It's like, yeah,
Right.
you know what, you're not doing anything right, because you ain't making people go, yeah. You're not making people go like, dude, fuck this guy. Like,
Yeah, you're not eliciting an emotional reaction one way or
Yeah.
another. I mean, like, yeah, it's like with women, like, you know, if you're like out there, you're single and ready to mingle, like it sounds weird, but even if you piss a woman off, it's an emotional reaction, and
you learn what
you're
not
on
to
her
do.
radar. Now, and ideally you want to make her happy and turn her on and all that stuff, but you know, if push comes to shove, if you have to, make her angry. You know, there you go.
Sometimes a little light ribbon's okay too. You know, just poke the bear a little bit.
Poke the bear a little bit. Yep, exactly. There you go. But back to Tombstone here, real quick. Like we're kind of touching on it earlier, but yeah, I mean, we have some great actors, fantastic actors in Tombstone. Obviously, the big two: Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer. Kurt Russell, specifically, I mean, he was already a big star anyway. He'd already been in the Thing, Escape from New York. The guy was Snake Plissken already, for God's sakes. You know, Backdraft. Tango and Cash, all these big movies. Overboard is one of my favorite comedies of all time with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. I thought that's a great movie there. So, but then of course, then we find him in Tombstone here, and then you have others in there. Bill Paxton, the late great Bill Paxton, to go with the late great Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott we were talking about here earlier as well. Michael Biehn. Michael Bihn's one of those actors. I'm like, man. I always thought that he should be bigger than he actually ended up being. I thought he should have been a leading man. I mean, he played, Kyle Reese and The Terminator, and then he was, what's the other movie I'm thinking of right there? Aliens. He was Hicks in Aliens, Navy SEALs, a lot of movies like that, so I thought he was going to be a bigger star, and he just never ended up being a bigger star. Powers Booth, I mean, a great character actor. He's no longer with us as well. Everybody look up Powers Booth, and a lot of you, like if you're Gen X like me, and you don't know who Powers Booth is, you'll look up his picture, and maybe one of the first things you'll think of is, oh, he's the guy from Red Dawn. Okay, yeah, that guy, because Powers Booth was great as well. Stephen Lang's still around. Stephen Lang played Ike Clanton in Tombstone. A lot of you kind of know him as Colonel Quaritch from the Avatar movies now. He's led movies. He's been the star of movies. He's in those Don't Breathe movies where he plays the blind guy, and he's like this ex special forces guy, but he's blind, and people keep trying to fuck with him, but he's blind, but he's got this great hearing, and so all the Don't Breathe movies, Stephen Lang is good in as well. Charlton Heston, get your damn dirty paws off my, Mr. Planet of the Apes, Thomas Haden Church, Billy Bob Thornton. We talked about those guys earlier. So
Michael Rooker, who, I mean, which a lot of you would probably know more recently because of the Guardians of the Galaxies movie, the Marvel movies. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. And it's just, and then you got Billy Zane, who went on to play such a great villain in the actual movie Titanic,
right? Exactly.
A couple years later, I mean, he plays literally the evil, fiance of Rose, who Rose falls in love with Jack, and the ship sinks, and and it's just like
that's a reunion with Bill Paxton in that movie with him. So
yes, the cast is Bill Paxton. The cast is huge. It's just out of control huge.
Oh yeah, yeah. Bill Paxton, this is like this kind of one of the steps, that he took to get up there, because he had Apollo 13 or he's True Lies next year. True Lies a year after Tombstone. Then he was in Apollo 13 the year after that. So
I rewatched Apollo 13 because of the Artemis 2 launch. Again, another movie that it's like, I've never seen Apollo 13. You're like, what? Tom
right.
Hanks,
right?
I mean,
communist
Bacon. I mean, literally, Bill Paxton. It's like Ed Harris. It's like Houston. We have a problem. One of the most iconic lines in history.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. What was that line that I think a line that I think that won Ed Harris the Academy Award is like, I think today is going to be the greatest day of our lives, gentlemen.
Oh, yeah. He said, with all due respect, sir, he's like, I think this is going to be our finest hour.
There you go. That's it right there.
I told you, I love me.
Yeah, that is
Ed Harris is so good.
Yeah, he is so damn good in that movie right there. It's like I wanted them back here, ready to land on the ocean with time to spare. All that shit. So yeah,
he's like, you're telling me you can only give our guys 45 hours? That was about here.
Yeah,
and then he did it on the chalkboard. He's like,
yeah, that's unacceptable, gentlemen. Yep.
He's like, that's not acceptable. Yep. He's like, we never lost an astronaut in space. We're damn sure not going to lose one on my watch. Exactly, failure is not an option.
That's another one right there. Failure, exactly.
Sorry,
I'm the one that got the Academy Award right there. And now his wife just won an Academy Award too, because I don't know if you ever saw. I don't know if you saw Weapons last year. The movie.
Did not see Weapons.
His wife played like the. Well, I'm not going to spoil it, but his wife played a very creepy character, Amy Madigan. A lot of people know her. She's Kevin Costner's wife in Field of Dreams.
Okay.
She's Uncle Buck's girlfriend, so yeah, right there. So, but she won an Academy Award. So now they can't talk trash to each other there in their household. Or Ed Harris can't talk to each other. Hey, honey, I've got an Academy Award and you don't. So there you go. Which was probably not a smart move as a husband to your wife anyway. So hopefully you didn't do that. But as far as Ed Harris isn't in Tombstone.
Yeah, I would almost actually say that, because Ed Harris, probably played along with Anthony Hopkins, the best characters that come out of the first season of Westworld. Everything after that is like whatever. But the first season of Westworld was so beloved, and you had Anthony Hopkins and you had Ed Harris, and it's like,
right. Oh yeah.
You even had James Marsden. I'll give James Marsden. He's actually a very good actor. He gets a lot of crap because he plays a lot of girly roles, but it's like James Marsden is still very, very good.
Yeah, he was in The Notebook, so he's always been screwed because he was in The Notebook right there.
Well, I think Ryan Gosling, Rachel McAdams, because they stole the show in The Notebook. But I don't think that should define him. I think Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams have done 10 times better movies than The Notebook. And it's Nicholas Sparks. I get it. All the women love it. It's fine.
If you watch The Notebook now, it was corny then, but it's really bad now. It's
super
terrible
sappy
filmmaking.
And I like romantic comedies, and I'll tell you what, that's so over the top cheese that it's like,
it is so cheesy. Oh God, it's just over the top schmaltz. There when you watch it right there, some of Ryan Gosling's worst acting I've ever seen.
And again, Ryan Gosling, I think Ryan Gosling, one of his best roles was, in The Fall Guy, because it's just such a very self-aware movie that I love it. Mm-hmm. And, he's opposite Emily Blunt, another incredible actress. And it just, even though there's some cheese in that movie, it's good cheese. Rachel McAdams has done that too. She's done movies outside of her comfort zone. If you've never seen the Eurovision movie on Netflix, opposite
I have, with Will Ferrell in her.
It's just, it's campy, it's cheesy, but it's also so very good because it does encompass what Eurovision is, which is a worldwide phenomenon before American Idol was ever a thing. And her performance playing ditzy and kind of like goofy, but also like kind-hearted is like, I don't know. I think it might be my favorite role of hers. Just being honest. So I love me some Rachel McAdams.
Yeah. So like with Emily Blunt, because as we kind of diverge again here, but Emily Blunt is she was an Oppenheimer before she was in the year before she was in The Fall Guy. Yep. And so that kind of made it, very intriguing when she was in The Fall Guy, kind of playing, this kind of not ditzy, but just kind of very aloof and, just not the serious character she was in Oppenheimer, because she was very serious and morose in Oppenheimer. She's also very good in, you ever saw the movie Looper with Bruce Willis?
Yeah, I did see. Yep, I saw Looper.
She was good in that movie there too. So yeah. Right there. What I was talking about Ryan Gosling being a terrible actor in The Notebook. If you want to see a good romantic comedy with him in it, La La Land, I think, takes the cake.
La La Land is a really good
La
one
La
too.
Land's really good. It's even for dudes like. Don't worry, dudes. Yeah, like I know if you don't like musicals and all that shit, like it's an entertaining enough movie, and it's a great opportunity, to like pretend to not want to watch a movie with your wife or girlfriend and earn some points. So like, if your girlfriend or your wife comes to you like, oh, I want to watch La La Land. It's one of those movies where I promise you'll like it, but don't act like you like it. Like act like, oh God, this is such a chore. But I'll do it for you, honey, because I love you. And then the whole time you're watching the movie, you're like, oh, this is pretty fucking good, but I'm not going to let her know.
If you want to see another good Ryan Gosling movie that's still in theaters, go watch Project Hail Mary, because the Ryan Gosling is very good. I know there's some people who don't care for the movie, and that's fine. It's all good in the hood. I'm not going to say anybody needs to like the movie, but at least it's more of it's something good that we've gotten this year, and we don't get a lot of good stuff in today's Hollywood. So, and it's just about the movie.
I liked it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the second best movie based on an Andy Weir novel. I like The Martian with Matt Damon better than I like Project Hail Mary. But Project Hail Mary is still very good. I mean,
I think I liked them both about equally. I'm not a huge Matt Damon fan. It depends on the role. Like the Bourne movies, I hate them.
If you read the Robert Ludlum novels, oh my God, those Bourne movies are terrible.
They bore the shit out of me. Oh, they bore me to tears. I'd rather probably watch paint dry. And again,
if you want to give the Bourne movies a chance, which I'm not sure why you would want to, don't read the novels, because you will hate those movies.
Yeah, not a shot at Matt Damon, because he's another incredible actor who's
done
great movies, phenomenal movies, and he's done bad movies.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yep. Exactly right there. So, but again, another guy was like, I'm surprised he wasn't in Tombstone, but I think he probably was. He probably would have commanded a little too high of a paycheck there for Tombstone even back then, right there, because he was kind of coming up into. No, I take that back. No, nobody knew who Matt Damon was back then.
I don't think Goodwill
Hunting. Tombstone was 93, and I don't think
Goodwill Hunting was what 99.
So
98.
What's that?
I was sure 98 or 99. Right?
Nobody would have known who Matt Damon is back then. So, I mean, he was in School Ties, and he was in not much.
Well, I'll also look at another actor that came up with Matt Damon too was Ben Affleck, and I think probably in my opinion, one of his most incredible roles still to this date is Armageddon. I love me some Michael Bay, though. I know some people are not big fans of Michael Bay, but good God.
A lot of people call it a guilty pleasure. I don't call it a guilty pleasure, because I'm not guilty about liking some. I don't like all his movies, but I don't feel guilty about liking some of his movies. I like Armageddon's great. The Rock, Bad Boys.
The Rock is incredible.
Yeah, 13 Hours, great movie.
Yep.
Yeah, 13. I mean, those are some of there's other movies. There's a lot of his movies I don't like, but Ambulance is another good Michael Bay movie that came out a few years ago. That unfortunately. It came out in the COVID years, so it made about $5 at the box office. And I remember looking around like, oh, yeah, I'm the only one in the theater? Yeah, this movie's going to bomb.
I'm looking forward to the fact that the Transformers franchise is going back to Michael Bay, and I think he's going to do it right, because he did the first one right. I know there are some people who are like, oh, well, it's just a Michael Bay movie. I mean, but also look at another Michael Bay movie, The Island, with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson. That is an incredible movie, and the story is incredible. So I think it's just, you know what?
Cool
welcome
concept.
back. Welcome back, Michael Bay, and I'm actually looking forward to the new Transformers movie. So I like the original one in 2007.
It was good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and they did good picking out Megan Fox. That's for sure. So yeah.
Well, I went back and looked at the CGI. The CGI in that movie is leagues over what today's world. What the happened? Like where did they go wrong?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, it's still. I mean, that's. I mean, they had Industrial Light and Magic. Help out with it. Digital Domain. That's the effects company that James Cameron works with a lot right there. Yep. So they're the special effects. And that was 2007. So and they still look great. With that movie, I'm trying to find a Tombstone Transformers connection. I'm sure, like with the long cast of Tombstones, one of those guys have been in a Transformers movie, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm
I
looking
don't
here.
know. I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so. Yeah.
The only
I'm looking.
connection we
No,
could
I
probably
don't think.
make to it is that because we're talking about Tombstone and now we're talking about Transformers,
Right. Right. Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I'll
Yeah.
say this much, and Michael Bay, I'm sure he'll do it right. If you don't have Peter Cullen, it's going to be a
Oh,
ride.
doing the voice of Optimus Prime.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, because the man is still alive, and just you cannot.
Mm.
My name is Optimus Prime. I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
just a voice. Even if I'm a fraction of the close as good as he does, it's like,
Mm. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, you got to have that. Yeah, you got to have him do that right there. So and make it like give the characters at least like make them intriguing enough to where you care what happens to them. Like give them some. I mean, it doesn't have to be a Coen Brothers movie, but I mean, come on, like. And that's the thing with like the first Transformers. Like, okay, I mean, okay, Sam Witwicky, all right, kind of a sympathetic enough character. I care what
yeah,
happens to him. His parents are kind of funny. He's going after the hot babe, and you see kind of a
well,
budding romance, and you're like, okay, I kind of care about what happens to him there. So like just get back to that, So
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's all
he
I have.
made you give a shit about the Autobots. Like when Jazz gets ripped in half by Megatron, you're like, what?
Right.
Like, because he was like this. He's just a stare. He was a bully. It's not like you love the character because you're like, oh man, he's my favorite Autobot or favorite Transformer. But it's like,
Sure.
watching him, he was a quirky character in the movie, and then we get just like Megatron goes bloop like a cockroach.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And Optimus picks him up at the end, and he's carrying him in his arms, and he thanks everybody for fighting. He's like, "Thank you, my friends," and it's like, but
Yeah.
he's holding Jazz, like, so it's just, I don't know, storytelling
Right.
shit anymore. I'm tired of it.
Yep, exactly. You need that. You can't just depend on CGI and big effects. You got to have the story behind it. I mean, like if you have to ditch one or the other, obviously ditch the CGI and have a great story there. That's all I care
Yeah.
about, because it could be it could be the cheapest movie with the lowest budget. If you have a great story, man, it's a great movie. Like, I don't know, like the movie. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Bound. It was made by the Wachowski brothers before they became the Wachowski sisters, and it's a movie they did right before The Matrix. It's called Bound, and it's like a very cheap movie, but the story is so good. You're like, oh, that's a pretty damn good movie right there. So
I do not think I've seen or heard of it.
Bound, yeah.
I am one of those people who's a firm believer that there's only one Matrix movie. The other ones, they were fine, but did we need them? No. That's fourth movie. Anyway, but that's just I don't want the whole stream to be like negative where we're nitpicking on movies because Tombstone.
No. Well, I'll bring the positivity back here. I mean, like the Tombstone soundtrack. The Tombstone soundtrack was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
There, I think that the soundtrack to Tombstone is what makes it feel epic. It's done by this guy named Bruce Broughton. He's the guy. It doesn't make sense, but he did like the Honey I Shrunk the Kids soundtracks before he did, the Tombstone soundtrack. Now, obviously, very different genres of movies right there. But I think Bruce Broughton's soundtrack like brings menace when you need to bring menace to the movie, and then he brings like just like uplifting strings and all that there. Like at the very beginning, when the Cowboys break into that wedding and they're shooting everybody. But before that, the quiet before the storm, Bruce Broughton has got like that very menacing music as the Cowboys are loading up. They're loading up their guns and they're about to go in there and cause some trouble. They're up to no good. And I think Bruce Broughton like has a great soundtrack for a lot of the scenes in the movie.
A soundtrack is just as important as setting the scene, through camera and the stage. Like if you don't have a good soundtrack, like you're not going to set the scene. Like, people feel things through music and visuals. And if you only have the visuals, but you don't have any music and you don't have good dialogue, like it's literally a trifecta of everything you need to hit. If you miss one mark, then you're going to miss the mark for what goes from being a good movie to a great movie.
Right.
And, and a lot of people, as campy as it sounds, like, the visuals for Tombstone for the time, the shots, I think the music, 2 years later, when it comes to Twister, the shots, the incoming CGI, the music, the acting, then on to Titanic, like, it's literally just a cascade of, like, you wouldn't have these incredible movies that we remember still to this day if they didn't hit everything. The holy trinity of movies is the best way to put it.
Right. Exactly. I mean, like, a lot of, if it's a great soundtrack, you can hear the soundtrack and you hear the main theme and you're like, I know what that movie is. Like, I know that. You hear the Titanic theme, like, that's Titanic.
Yeah. And I'm not talking about the Celine song necessarily. I'm not talking about the actual music from time. Again, everybody loves the Celine Dion song, I'm sure.
Not that song, but I'm talking about
but like
James
the actual
Horner score.
The James the Horner score and stuff like
the one
that.
He won the Oscar for. He only won the Oscar for it.
Yeah, when she's standing on the bridge and she's saying, "I'm flying, Jack," that's a very epic song. And it also plays when a different, sadder version when she's being loaded in the lifeboat and she's watching Jack Lee being left behind.
Oh yeah,
like it's the same song but just tweaked. And it's like the rest of the score is it's just, I mean, back when you would buy a movie score, whether it had an iconic song from an actual singer like Celine Dion or it was just the movie score from the movie, and you enjoyed the music. You used to be able to go to Hastings or whatever, Sam Goody, and just you'd buy the thing and the little plastic like freaking, I don't know, ladder looking thing that they like in case.
Oh yeah, that they held him and they had to take it out of that before he left the store. Yep.
Like back when you actually bought soundtracks because people were like going, I gotta listen to that soundtrack.
Sure. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I probably most of my LPs, were movie soundtracks.
Definitely before my time.
I can go get my mom. I had that, like most of them, and then CDs. We'll go a little further in time than CDs. Most of my CDs were probably movie soundtracks. As well. I still listen to movie soundtracks when I'm like working. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, a movie score, the soundtrack. It used to be something that, I mean, people used to watch the award shows for good movies that they loved.
Sure.
People watched award shows because they wanted to see Titanic win, or they wanted to see Tombstone win, or they wanted to see, I think even Twister won one year because it had the best visual effects, because they were so incredible that they still hold up to this day where people are like going, you rendered that in 1997?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like some movies' excuse nowadays would be like, well, that's before Marvel and DC came out and all their movies were sucking up all the visual effects houses and all. I was like, no, I'm not going to give you that excuse.
No. Well, even the second movie, Transformers movie,
visual effects aren't on point. Don't release the movie yet.
Yeah. Well, even the second Transformers movie, Revenge of the Fallen, Devastator, the big one that came all together is that big like crawling monster thing, like trying to suck the pyramid up. Yeah. That actually blew up a computer trying to render that in CGI form. It melted a computer down because it was rendering for so long.
Yeah.
Like that's something that most people don't know. That was 2010. We're 16 years removed from that.
Right.
Now it looks like something that, I mean, quite frankly, AI does 10 times better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why I respect like James Cameron, like for the Avatar movies, like he, when he works with like Digital Domain and it gets those visual effects, just looking tip top and crisp and clean for his movies. Like the reason he didn't come out with the Avatar, like the second set of Avatar movies, is because he was waiting for the visual effects technology to be invented. And then when no one was inventing it, he worked on inventing it to work for for the new Avatar movies right there. So that's a guy like, he doesn't cut corners, he doesn't half-ass shit. And I really respect that, and especially when it comes to CGI, because if you're cutting corners, you're gonna be able to tell. Man, Ant-Man and Quantumania, a great example of a movie where they thought that the CGI would dazzle you, but not when it looks like dog shit, right? And really got to care about it.
It looks worse than. It literally looks worse than the visuals from, from the 90s. From, because again, whether or not you love the prequel trilogy from George Lucas, when Jurassic Park came out, he waited for the technology to catch up because he's like, these movies are going to be harder to make than the original trilogy. The original trilogy is still drastically better. However, I think after everything that's happened, we've been a little too harsh. I'm a sequel trilogy kid because Return of the Jedi came out before I was born. So I'm a sequel trilogy kid, but also at the same time, the same summer that I saw Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, I watched Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, and we're getting a Mummy number 4. And you know what? There are so many people who are so excited about that because, quite frankly, again, if you do something right with the right actors and the right writing and the right just everything, people are like clamoring for it. And guess what? Brendan Fraser is almost 60. And he's trying to get back in shape because he's going to do another movie. He's going to do another movie. Rachel Weisz and the whole entire cast. And you know what? It's going to be $1 billion movie easily.
Yeah, exactly, right there. Yeah, and the fact that he's won a Best Actor Oscar doesn't hurt either.
Well, he's just a beloved, nice guy. Like he got screwed over because the creeps in Hollywood, because he wouldn't let somebody touch his wiener.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's like you just never know about things in Hollywood. Right there. So, but real quick, I'm going to do this here, and I am going to go to a different segment here that a lot of people like, and I happen to like it too because I get to drink beer. So, I'm going to go solo here, and I'll bring it back here. And that, of course,
I got to turn my camera off. I got to turn my camera off real quick. I dropped something on the floor, and I got to find it.
Oh, yeah, no, that's perfect.
I'm going to take a swig of water and maybe use the bathroom. So, I'll be right back.
Yeah, perfect time for that, my brother. Absolutely. So, because we are about to get into a little brew review time. All right, let me introduce you to the brew for tonight on this brew review time. And this is a little Prairie Artisan Ale. And this comes to us from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yes, I was about to say the Show Me State, but that's Missouri here. So what is Oklahoma? Somebody the Sooner State. Is it the Sooner State? I don't know. Who cares? But this is a highly acclaimed world-class Imperial Stout. And this bad boy, I mean, this is not your average beer. This is not your normal beer. This sucker clocks in at 13% alcohol by volume, okay? And now, if you know what beers usually clock in as far as alcohol by volume or the ABV rating, it's usually anywhere from like 2 to like 6, right? There, but this bad boy is at 13. Now, obviously, if you're a Scotch drinker, a tequila drinker, obviously 13% alcohol by volume is nothing. But if you're just solely a beer drinker, then this is considerable when it comes to a beer here. And this beer, you're going to find just a few different characteristics as far as the flavor for this beer. You're going to be able to tell that it was brewed with coffee beans. And I guess there's a coffee company there in Tulsa, Oklahoma called the Spaceship Earth Coffee Company right there, where they use espresso beans from that. And that gives it like this prominent dark roast foundation to this beer here, okay? So you're definitely going to get a coffee flavor from this. So, not over the top, but a coffee flavor nonetheless. And then you got cacao nibs that are used, and that just delivers this rich layers of bitter milk chocolate and dark cacao sweetness there as well. Now, I don't taste the bitter milk chocolate part of this right here. So, but maybe you will if you were to try this right here. It's got vanilla beans in there that it's brewed with as well. And it just rounds out the heavy malts, and it kind of gives it a little bit of a creamy, smooth finish as well. And then lastly, they brew this with ancho chili peppers, which provide like this kind of gentle, smoky warmth kind of in the back of your throat a little bit, but not enough to make you gag or, you get, your sinuses are unleashing or anything like that. It's just kind of a nice little warm kind of feeling in the back of your throat, like, you're doing a tequila shot or something like that, right? So now it pours pitch black and thick. Now you can't tell that because I'm just holding up the beer bottle here. I'm not pouring it into a pint glass or anything like that. And it's got a you got that. Yeah, you got that. It's got a chocolate smell to it. I can't taste the chocolate, which is weird. I can smell the chocolate in the nose, but I'm not really getting like a really heavy chocolate flavor when I actually drink the thing here. You get the vanilla in there as well. But yeah, it's a very full-bodied beer. I mean, like I said, this sucker comes in at 13% alcohol by volume here. And actually, this brewery here, the Prairie Artisan Ales, they actually have like very different variations of bomb here. The the interestingly named beer bomb. They have a Christmas bomb brew, pirate bomb, birthday bomb, and then lastly a deconstructed bomb there as well. So, if you're in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area or the Oklahoma area in general, and you get your hands on some of the different variations of bomb brews here, from this particular brewer, this Prairie Artisan Ales, then yeah, I think you're in for a treat right here. Now I can only speak for this particular bomb variation right here, and I'm gonna recommend it. If you're just looking, like, if you just been drinking nothing but lagers and pilsners, and you're like trying to step up a little bit, maybe you drink a lot of porters and stouts, but you're trying to like get away from that a little bit. You want a little bit something different here. Then yeah, go ahead and dip into a bomb right here. So yeah, light the fuse on this bomb right here. And this actually technically is a stout here as well, but I like it. I'm digging it. I'm giving it the brew review time seal of approval, if I can actually talk here tonight right there. But instead of me yapping about it, real quick here, I'll let you know like what foods it pairs well with, because I do like to let you know what foods the brews that I review, if I like them. I like to let you know what foods they pair well with, and with something this decadent, it's going to pair well with stuff like chocolate brownies and fudge brownies. And interestingly enough, it also goes good with like smoked brisket or any type of smoked meat there. If you're a cheese fan, it goes with good sharp aged blue or Gouda cheeses there as well. So, but me personally, I'd probably drink it, with the smoked brisket that they were talking about there earlier with this right here. But again, instead of me just talking about it, let me take a drink off this bad boy. So. All right, so not bad, not bad. There we go. So yeah, Prairie Artisan Ale is the bomb, and it is the bomb right there. Okay, I had to say that at least once, and so I give it my endorsement. So, and if you want if you want to get your hands on this here, if you're in the Oklahoma area, or I should just say if you're in Oklahoma, you probably have a pretty good chance of like being able to use like Uber Eats, to get this delivered to you, or the Open Bar app on your phone. Now, if you live anywhere in the world and you're willing to shell out a whole lot of money to get your hands on this right here, well, you can go to a place like GoPuff.com, who basically specializes in delivering booze of all types to anywhere in the world, but you will pay for it, okay? So just a warning right there, but they will get this in your hand for the right price right there. But I just mentioned that because I don't want to hog all the good brew for myself right there. But anyway, with that, we got some more Tombstone to talk about. And so that means we got to wrap up this brew review time. All right here. So, and I'll wait for Ryan to return here as we talk about some more Tombstone here. But let's see here. Let's go ahead. You know what? I'm going to play this video here, this Kurt Russell video here that I think you guys are going to enjoy. Now, this video is a little bit on the long side here. It's 5 minutes, but it's so intriguing because it's Kurt Russell and he's talking Tombstone here. So let's check this out.
Tombstone is about a family, family of people that lived during a time when organized crime was being formed in the United States, and it happened to be in the West, and it happened to be those group of cowboys coming from Illinois, coming from the East, sort of a Quaker world. That's why they looked the way they looked, wore the clothes they wore, the hats especially. Tombstone, in terms of Westerns, was really exciting and different. A wonderful script written by Kevin Jarre. He drew most of what he wrote from periodicals and magazines and stuff. I talked to him a lot about it. He had this great way of understanding how these people spoke and lived which I'd never seen before in a Western. Reading Tombstone, the first page said, forget everything you have ever read or seen about Westerns. It's untrue. And then afterwards, it continued to show you that. These people in Tombstone were dressed to the nines. They showed their wealth. Coming into a new town, they needed to know you were a man of substance, a good businessman, a good entrepreneur, someone they could depend on, someone who was successful. It was these things that I found in Tombstone to be the things that you wanted to learn about from the audience's point of view, how they spoke and why they spoke that way. One of my favorite things about Tombstone, when I read it, I said, man, this is really great screenplay, is that during the middle of the conversation, everybody stopped and they looked up and they started to applaud. And that's what people used to do when it was a full moon. They'd look up and see a beautiful full moon and they just applaud. That was their entertainment. Men of that time were completely different people than now. American men. And those American men were coming from Europe and places from all over the world. And here was this group of men who were figuring some things out and saying, hey, if we get this together, we can run this show. And there's not much anybody can do about it. Now it's being considered one of the great Westerns ever made, so I'm happy about that.
How often people say that is the number one Western?
I can't say that, but I like hearing that, and more people are saying that now. The impact of the movie, well, I give that to one story, and I don't mean to say this as in any way a put down, although there were certain people involved, Kevin Costner not being one of them, Kevin being a good guy, but there were other people involved with that were not good guys to me. Once I said, hey, how about if we do this and that, maybe we could do some things together. I said, I could kill you and yours, and you could kill me mine. This one individual said, oh, we're gonna kill a lot of people in Wyatt Earp. And there were some people standing around me, and it was just such a slap in the face, and I thought, fuck you, buddy, I'm gonna take you on full force, full frontal nudity, let's go. You're now gonna run into Wyatt Earp. So those two movies came out fairly close to each other, Wyatt Earp and Tombstone. Great things about both. But there's one undeniable thing. You name me another Western where you can recall as much of the dialogue as people can recall from Tombstone. It's not even close. Much more so than any other Western. That's undeniable.
I didn't think you had it in you. I'm your huckleberry.
If you're asking me if it was great working with Val Kilmer, who played Doc Holliday on Tombstone, the answer is absolutely. In those days, especially, when you were working with people, you'd get them, sometimes at the end of the show, you get gifts or trade gifts. It's not mandatory. It's not something that, you've got to do or that they've got to do. And so I asked my driver to see if he could get a hold of Val's holster and gun and hat and chair with his name on the back, take a picture, and then in that picture, I wanted to have this thing. It's the end of the show and it's been a battle and we've all, gotten through it very well. And I give Val this present and he looks at me and he turns to his driver and he says, give it to me. Because what I had gotten Val was a plot at Boot Hill. What Val had gotten me was an acre of land overlooking Boot Hill. Doc Holliday is all about death. But Wyatt's all about life. It's in that last scene. Just looked at each other and went, well, I guess that pretty much says it all.
Thanks for always being there, Doc.
There's been a lot of things written about Tombstone that are just so, even books that I just look at them, people have no concept. Even people who are working on the show don't even know and never will. Every movie, every show is difficult to do. It's generally going to be a collaboration. Trust is going to be either earned or found or not. And like any other movie, it's a miracle that it gets made. Finding solutions to problems was a constant on Tombstone. The difficulties that we were able to figure out solutions to. All that matters is that it got done and that the impact that the original screenplay promised, we got about 90% of that.
All right. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That is the legendary Kurt Russell, who, of course, played Wyatt Earp in Tombstone there and just played so many characters in so many other movies, Tango and Cash, The Thing, and all these great Backdraft as well. Yeah, so real quick here, before we get into more Tombstone here, I am going to tantalize you with something here that I think you're going to want to tantalize others with here, to be quite honest with you, okay, as creepy as that might sound right here. But I am, of course, talking about the Movies Merica merch store here, okay? And as you see right here, if we go down a little further here in the Movies Merica merch store, we've got a number of different items here. We got T-shirts, got hats, and all that stuff as I scroll down a little further. And here's the items that we have here with the first style of Movies Merica logo. This is the Big Mugs style of Movies Merica logo right here with the hat, T-shirts, and all that. Now, full disclosure, that hat does not have the purple on the front of it there, unfortunately, right there. But I'm all about being honest. I'm all about being forthcoming. There you go. I'm Mr. Honesty, of course, right there. And that's how we roll here at Movies Merica HQ, all right? So as you see, we have tank tops and baseball long sleeve hoodies, all this stuff right here. And then as we move down a little further here is sports bra right there. We also have a Hollyweird style of Movies Merica logo here with lots of T-shirts and hoodies and all of that stuff. And then last but not least, we have my favorite style of Movies Merica logo. We have the Black Adam style of Movies Merica logo here on all these fantastic items. You can get that on there. So now you might be saying, hey, Van, you know what? I got all your clothes. I've got all your T-shirts, your tank tops. I'm a dude. I even have your sports bra for some reason. All right. More power to you. That's money in my pocket all the same. But you might be saying, hey, I've got all your clothes already hanging up on my closet. But, man, what I really need, because I get really thirsty, do you have any Movies Merica drinkware? And to that, I say, friend, get ready to be happy because your prayers have been answered. We have Movies Merica drinkware up the wazoo. All right. We have coffee cups. We got can-shaped glasses. We got pint glasses. You name it. We got it right there. Okay. So come in here and, bust out that credit card and buy all of that up right there. We got desk mats here as well if you want to class up your desk with some Movies Merica sophistication, all of that stuff right there. Now, maybe like if you're not like me and you're actually a generous person, you want to give the gift of Movies Merica. Hey, more power to you. You can definitely do that. All right. Maybe you and the wife are fighting right now, and nothing says, "Hey, I love you, honey," more than a Movies Merica T-shirt right there. I mean, forget Zales, forget going to Jared. All right, forget that. Get yourself some Movies Merica T-shirts, and rekindle that flame in your relationship. There you go. Okay, but it's very easy to get to this Movies Merica website here. We've got the Movies Merica merch website link down in the description right there. All right, so we got no excuse not to go there and grab yourself some Movies Merica merch, and it makes a very good conversation starter there as well. Because I don't know how many times I've worn a Movies Merica T-shirt or this hat up here. I wear this particular hat out here, and people just want to know, hey, what's Movies Merica? Okay, and hey, one time it was a total smoke show. Okay, that asked me about it. Unfortunately, she had a big rock on her finger. She was all married and all that stuff. But all the same, the point still stands. It's a great conversation starter. Okay, so there you go. Grab yourself some Movies Merica merch there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Okay, but enough about that here. Let's move on because we got some more Top Gun. We got some more Tombstone, and you know what? We might actually delve into Top Gun again to talk about there. But Ryan, I don't know if you had a chance to see that Kurt Russell video that I was just showing right there, but that was Kurt Russell basically just kind of going over his Tombstone days.
I unfortunately did not.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, he was.
No. I basically kind of inherited my childhood home, and Dad was taking care of Mom, so I inherited Mom too. So
okay.
She doesn't. She's been having some low blood pressure issues, and she was kind of telling me about it. So we're probably going to the doctor tomorrow. So that's
okay.
Yeah, it was a longer conversation than I thought it was. Just getting water and peeing.
Right.
I might need to if it's okay with you.
Play back this
wrap
episode
up
when we're done.
Yeah.
It's right there. But it's pretty intriguing there, and just kind of getting some of the inside stuff with Kurt Russell here, all about that. So, and he was kind of touching on the fact that there's some contentiousness between Tombstone and the Kevin Costner movie Wyatt Earp,
Okay.
as well as like a lot of turbulence between the Tombstone cast and crew. Like so, and he made a clear. It was his intention during that video I was just playing to point out that Kevin Costner wasn't one of the bad guys, tied to the Wyatt Earp movie that was causing trouble for the production of Tombstone. Right there, he was doing a impression of somebody that was giving him a hard time. And if you know what this guy sounds like, you're like, oh, I know exactly who Kurt Russell's talking about as far as who he's saying was a real jerk to him about Wyatt Earp and Tombstone. And the voice he was making, it was the voice of director Lawrence Kasdan. And if you don't know who Lawrence Kasdan is, if anybody watching as well doesn't know who Lawrence Kasdan is, Lawrence Kasdan wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark. Okay. And he also wrote Empire Strikes Back. And then later on, he went to direct like The Big Chill and Silverado, and I'm trying to think of some other famous movies that he did and that he directed right there. But that's Lawrence Kasdan. He's a name in Hollywood there, and so he's got a very distinct voice when he talks like this, and so Kurt Russell was doing that voice. I'm like, aha, okay. He's saying Lawrence Kasdan, who directed Wyatt Earp, was being an asshole. And basically, what they were doing is they're talking about like they're going to steal like all the Western wear that they needed for the movie, because Tombstone was filming before Wyatt Earp, but the Wyatt Earp folks they grabbed up all the Western wear that they needed for the characters. And then I don't know if you remember the movie Geronimo. Geronimo came out around the same time, and of course it was about Geronimo, right? And so they grabbed up like the remainder of all the Western wear. So Tombstone had to go to these guys called buckaroos, which are like these guys that basically live like cowboys, like modern day guys. They live like cowboys like all year round, or they have like all their cowboy stuff like ready to go at a moment's notice. If somebody calls them up and like, hey man, we need you to cowboy up and come over here to the show. So they have a horse and they have all their Western wear, all their gear and all that stuff. And so the makers of Tombstone said, hey, learn to have there was these guys named buckaroos, or called buckaroos. And they said, well, since we got no Western wear, let's call these buckaroos here, since they already got all their shit, and we'll have them come in. And then they also did like other things to get Western wear and build it. And I think they did a pretty good job in Tombstone with like the spurs and the chaps and that cowboy hats and just the Western wear, the clothes of the Old West, right? I think they did a pretty good job.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I think they look incredible. Quite frankly, I mean, I think probably before that, my whole entire interpretation of any type of Western was probably through Back to the Future 3. So, I mean, I'm not going to say Back to the Future 3 was bad. I think they probably did a pretty good job with what they had.
Sure.
It's not meant to be super serious.
No.
But at least, I mean, I would say probably the Western wear is well, not from the beginning of 3 to, the beginning of 3.
Sure.
He's like I'm pretty sure I saw. What did Marty say? He's like, I'm sure pretty sure I've seen clips of Clint Eastwood, and he never dressed like this.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, the long and the short of it is that that was kind of my introduction to that as a little kid.
Sure.
Because what Back to the Future 3 came out in
1990. Yep.
Yeah. So
yep.
I was like 4.5.
Oh, sure.
So I saw it well after the fact. I saw Tombstone after the fact too, because again, I was way too young. I didn't understand anything about it. So yeah, I think the sets and the costumes for Tombstone were very, very good.
Sure.
I like the fact that I think the actors did such a great job too interacting with that said wear, because you had well, you had people who would, I mean, their whole job was to pretend like they knew what they were doing with gunslinging. And it's like, how do you got this, maybe a jacket in the way or clothes or something, where kind of like they just kind of like do that. And it's like, that's probably not easy. So I think overall the aesthetics of it and the costume design was very, very well done.
Right. Yeah, and the armorer for the movie, I mean, they made sure to use the actual guns
Yes.
I couldn't believe that, but these are actual guns that like Wyatt Earp used and Doc Holliday there. So I mean, so if you think you had to be careful, you know, in the first place, I mean, you have to be really careful with those right there. But I still couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I don't know if that armor is like blowing smoke, but I'm like, my God, really? The actual gun? Or guns that that Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and, you know, probably Virgil and Morgan used, and some of the other characters there. And also then the costume designer was talking about, like, you know, people think like a lot of times you'll watch a Western and everyone's just wearing like gray or brown or tan or black, you know, and that's it. And if you look back, you know, at images, you know, paintings, whatever, or photographs in some cases, probably not photographs, but renderings. You know, Cowboys, like back in the day, they were wearing colors. They were wearing reds and blues and greens. I mean, you look at Curly Bill, right, played by Powers Booth. He's wearing a red shirt the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, there, and then, you know, the Earp brothers. I mean, they had made money. They dressed like they were aristocrats. Like they wanted to dress successfully and look like it looked like they were affluent businessmen, and that's what people did back then. Is like when he had money, you wore it, you know, you made sure that everybody knew how good you look. So, I mean, and you compared to, like, you know, how Wyatt Earp looks compared to Ike Clanton, right? I mean, two totally different, you know, ways that they dress in that. But I thought it was kind of cool, like, yeah, just how Tombstone decided to go against, you know, how every other Western, not every other Western, but most other Westerns just kind of did the whole neutral colors thing. And they went like, you know, we're going to portray like what they actually look like in the Old West right there. They bring some color to it. So,
Well, you have to realize too is that, and probably a lot of people don't, is that you know, color from literally that time, and we're not saying people of color or anything like that, but you know, because the actual making of clothing, it took so much more to dye something, to make it red, make it blue, make it I mean, look at Doc Holliday. He has that fancy red and gold vest, you know, underneath his jackets. That is something that is extremely, that would pop out, because most people who are front range living, you know, cattle people, you know, front range men, stuff like that. Even if you have just a small homestead, or you're just trying to, like, you know, you found a plot of land, and you're going to be, the neutral colors are easier to do. So like your browns, your whites, your black, even maybe a little bit of gray. It's a lot less expensive for normal people. But when you start getting into the prettier colors, like, you know, we're taking advantage of the fact that, like, you know, your shirt right there is blue. That would be something that, you know, that color blue would be something that somebody who has actual money, compared to, you know, like, look, you can see my hat. It's just fucking tan.
sure.
You know, and it's just it's a more vibrant color, and it proves a social status in a sense. In the Cowboys, one of the reasons the Cowboys actually, you know, actually stood out in the social stance, it wasn't just because of their well, almost their iron fist or their violence. They were recognizable from a sizable distance because of the red sachet that they had.
Sure.
And that's why Wyatt Earp said, I'm pretty sure it's Wyatt Earp. He said, anybody wearing red, he's like, oh, we're going to,
Right.
well, we're going to handle some business.
Oh yeah, right, exactly, yeah, and that's where the red sashes came in handy for the movie. Now, in real life, the Cowboys didn't wear red sashes right there, because, like, historians were like, the Cowboys wouldn't have worn something to identify themselves, you know,
No.
back. But I think the movie, it was a very good plot point, because at the end, right, where Wyatt was able to say that, and it made it very easy for the audience to go, oh, okay, this is the rule. If you're caught wearing a red sash, we're gonna kill your ass. And this movie came out not long after, like, Colors came out, Boys in the Hood, all these, like, gangbanger movies, you know, the Bloods and the Crips and whatnot.
Yep.
It's some insiders of the movie, the Tombstone, one of them was saying, like, I think that's what inspired the red stash part of this movie, is because the Bloods, right? You know, they've seen
Yes.
Color, Boys in the Hood, and all that stuff right there. But it also is, yeah, it's very convenient for that case right there, where, you can have that simple rule, where you have the vengeance or the vendetta run. That's what they call it, the vendetta run, where Wyatt Earp and Doc and Texas Jack and all those guys are going around and killing any cowboy that they see with the red sash. That's called the vendetta run in history there. So it came in very handy with that. So, but I mean, movies are allowed to take creative license. It worked.
Yeah, it makes it an easy identifier because again, gangs, human nature is nuts and history is not creative. Because quite frankly, gangs have been around since the beginning of man.
Sure,
we just used to call them tribes, then they became something else, and then they became a gang, and then it became. But you know what? Quite frankly, a tribe turned into a group of people that usually was trying to survive together, and then of course it turned into a gang of outlaws. In the Old West, and then of course you have still the term gangs to this day.
Sure, yeah.
Removed vastly from the 1800s. So it's gangs would always, and even tribe members too, a tribe of people would always have something that kind of like identified them too, because they had their own rituals and customs. A gang is just an advanced form of a family. It's a little more warped in a sense, and especially in modern terms, but it made it easier to identify people who were literally opposed to the heroes that we understood.
Yeah, right.
And so that's why history has always kind of like used it. And it's also been a real world thing in today's world. The Bloods and the Crips are still a real thing. The Bloods red, the Crips blue, MS-13 gold. I mean, the list goes on. And it's just human nature to use an identifying marker or markers to say, okay, that's one of my people. We're good to go.
Right.
That's not, I might be in trouble.
Sure. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, because gangs, they provide that support structure.
Yes.
That some people are looking for here. They don't get it from their family, so they go out in the streets, right? And they become, I belong. Matter of fact, it feels good to know that I got all my brothers. They got my back, man. If some shit goes down, they got my back. I don't have that at home, right there. So unfortunately, people fall into that, and it's the same, with the Cowboys. They're in Tombstone right there. Like they all know, hey, what? Yeah, I mean, me by myself, I'm not very formidable. It's just me and my horse, and that's it. But you put 100, 200 Cowboys behind me. Now we're a force. Now it's a force multiplier going on right there. So, and you do see that in the movie. I mean, Bill, Johnny Ringo, Ike Clanton, all the rest of them, they're a formidable force. They're especially like in an opening scene, where they go to that wedding, and apparently like one of their old cowboy riding buddies is getting married, and he quit the Cowboys, and they're not too happy about that. I guess the Cowboys are kind of like the mafia, the only way you leave is you die, basically.
It's
you don't just leave the Cowboys and go hitched.
It's not dissimilar to today's world either. I mean, there's still gangs. It's like going, you're either going to ride with us forever, or we're going to decide the parameters of how you get out of here. And it may not be fun parameters, depending on how high you climb in the ranks, which is legitimately a thing. There are gang members who are high level, and they're allowed to leave and go in peace because they're so high and they're so respected.
Sure.
If you're a peon or you're somebody who's in the lower ranks, and shallow in the trenches, if you decide just to walk away because you want to get married and stuff like that, and that's how it opens with that, technically the wedding massacre.
Sure.
And it's something that, quite frankly, that if you're a nobody, that's how they're going to treat you. They're going to treat you like nobody because you became nobody to them. You were on the rise, and maybe you could have been somebody, but you became nobody. Then you walked away. Then you became less than human. You're no longer a part of the family. So it's like, well, might as well just kill you because whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like, and I'm wondering, like in that case, like if they thought the guy knew too much, right? And they wanted to take him out, or if it was like jealousy, like, hey, he shouldn't get to just leave and have like this good life with a wife and kids and all that stuff.
It almost just seemed like vindictive. Like you left us, you swore an oath to us,
Right.
You found somebody, fell in love, decided you wanted to have this homestead life, and
Mhm.
it's like, well, we didn't allow you to leave. You
Right.
didn't ask to leave. You said, I'm just going to leave and I'm not doing this anymore.
Right. Right.
So we're going to make an example out of you to everybody
Mhm.
else.
Right, right, exactly. So to the rest of you Cowboys, do not be going to Zales and buying rings for women and all that stuff because yeah, you're probably gonna end up getting butchered with that. So, but yeah, we're getting really into the weeds of Tombstone. Right, we're really breaking down some Tombstone here with
Well, yeah,
episode
Johnny
announcements.
Ringo shot the priest.
He did, yeah, exactly, yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
shot the priest.
Yep, and then he quoted scripture
Yep.
afterwards, right there. So yeah, because the guy was quoting, the priest was saying scripture in
Yep.
Spanish, right before that, and then of course that's when Wild, Curly Bill was like, "Hey, what was that? What was that? What was that priest saying or something like that?" And then
Oh,
Johnny
and
Ringo talked about like a guy on a pale horse and his name was Death or something along those lines. And then I like how they cut from that to Wyatt Earp getting off the train. It's
yeah.
like there you go.
Well,
got that.
I like that they hide it too, that Johnny Ringo is an educated man.
Yep.
He doesn't allude to, and then so the individual translating
Yeah.
in Spanish, and
Sure.
he's like, your translation shit.
Right.
And then
yeah.
like he kind of turns to it and he's like, oh, this is what he said. And then
Yeah.
of course, after a little bit more spouting from the priest, it's like, and that's it.
Yeah.
And
right.
Johnny Ringo just handles business, and that sets him up to be one of the baddest dudes in the whole entire movie, if
Sure.
not the baddest dude.
Oh yeah. Right. Yep. Exactly.
So yeah, even the leader, the one who got arrested because he was drunk, piss ass drunk, and in the
Yeah,
street,
Curly
and
Bill,
like
yep.
killed the marshal and stuff like that. I mean, Curly Bill, he got swept up so fast that quite frankly,
Yeah.
he really wasn't much of anything for the rest of the movie. It was Johnny Ringo that became almost a force of sociopathy and almost colder.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
Johnny Ringo didn't seem to be somebody who did a whole lot of gambling, did a whole lot of drinking, did a whole lot of like, with the prostitutes or anything like that.
Sure.
He was about one thing. He was about financial gain and killing if he had to.
Sure.
And he always ended up doing it. And that's why he was, the second fastest.
Yeah, right, exactly, right there. Yeah, and Michael Biehn, if you watch DVD extras here for Tombstone, he does imply like the reason Johnny Ringo is the way he is, or partly the reason that he is the way he is because he had a very strict religious upbringing by his parents, and obviously he broke away from that, fell away, from that right there. But he's got that religious knowledge in his head. He probably could quote scripture. Obviously, he knows Revelations there.
Well, he knows
But-
Latin. The only people that would
Yeah.
know Latin back then is the Catholic Church.
Right.
So,
Yep,
given his strict upbringing, is where he would learn Latin.
Yep.
It also says why Doc Holliday knew Latin because
Right,
again,
exactly, yeah.
strict Catholicism was an extreme part of the South, the very, very southern South.
Yep.
And that's why, and it's also through the church. Then there weren't a lot of public schools. It's not like everybody's running around. They went to public school and all that kind of crap. No,
Sure.
Catholicism, the church was where you raised your kids and where your kids learned
Sure.
to be educated in the majority of the ways, in
Yeah.
other languages, in even Spanish, even in Catholicism, even in history. Like that's why Johnny Ringo and Doc Holliday, they kind of meet and they're opposite sides of the same coin. They understand each other, but
Mhm.
they hate each other's guts because they're
Right, yeah.
opposite sides of the same coin.
Yeah, they got different worldviews, different allegiances
Yes.
there. Yeah, and Johnny Ringo, like even in that scene where they're at the theater and they're watching the play about Faust and all that stuff, and then Wild Bill even turns to Johnny Ringo and says, "Hey, are you ready to sell your soul to the devil?" or something to that effect. And Johnny Ringo says, "Already did." So
Yep.
it's almost like Johnny Ringo sees himself as like an avenging dark angel, like
Yes.
a dealer of death or something like that. Like he's like the dark side's deliverer of a trip to to hell or something like that, right? He sees himself as more than a man, like otherworldly. Like you said, you talk about sociopath, right? he's got this bigger than life, idea about him, like he's something more than a man right there. And but I think that another thing that makes him creepy is he's so he's calm, right? He's not an excitable kind of guy. He's very stoic and
Yes.
in how he carries himself right there. So he's just like, it's like he's got one thing on his mind, like, jacking you up if you rub him the wrong way, or if someone tells him to kill you, he'll kill you. So
Yeah, and he comes off as a character too that's is so extremely stone faced that he only has just a smidgen of a tell.
Sure.
And you see that later on in the movie when Doc Holliday says he tells Johnny Ringo to draw, and he
Right.
doesn't. But you can see that he flinched just enough that Doc realized, and it was just enough. Okay, so usually the person in the room, this is the best. This is, at least in most of my experiences, and it probably relates to a lot of human history. Usually the loudest guy in the room saying, "I'm going to kick your ass, I'm going to beat shit out of you," like going, "You're going to get up and I'm going to do all this kind of stuff and all in your face," and stuff like that, and screaming and yelling and carrying on. And then the other guy's just sitting there like going, just kind of like ready, like going, "Whenever you're ready, dude, you want to swing? Let's swing."
Right. Yeah. Yep.
The guy who's making all the noise is the one who is terrified to death.
Right.
And that's not Doc Holliday. And Doc put him off just enough to see, okay, I've got the upper hand. He's nervous. I'm going to take advantage of this.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's just another fascinating thing about his character there. I gotta throw this in there too. Also, I don't know if you knew, Wyatt Earp III. So I don't know if that's Wyatt Earp's like great grandson or great great grandson or whatever, but he's actually in the movie. He's actually plays a character.
I didn't know that. No.
Billy Claiborne, in this right there. I didn't know that too. So I was like watching the DVD extras a long time ago, and they basically just show it right there. It's like, Wyatt Earp III is in Tombstone there. So I thought that was pretty fascinating to have some some Earp blood in the movie. So, but it's just amazing. So many things about Tombstone that we could talk about right there. But real quick, I'm going to get into what is personally my favorite segment. So I'm going to go solo here again, Ryan, and then I'll bring it back.
You're good.
After you're done right here. But we're going to get into the movie military moments here. And now some of you might not know what the movie military moment is, but real quick explanation. So what it is I give myself a few minutes to pay tribute to a brave military warrior that has been awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. And to that, some of you might be asking rightfully, like, "Hey, that's great there, Van, that you are paying tribute to a hero here. But what the hell does that have to do with movies right there?" And that's a good question right there. I totally respect that question right there, and I will give you an explanation to that, but not until after this. All right, so I owe you an explanation, everybody. So the movie military moment, the connection between the movies and me paying tribute to a Congressional Medal of Honor recipient is this. So as you would imagine, if you are a recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor, you didn't get it for being the best boot polisher on base. You didn't get it for being, the best hash slinger at the base chow hall, right? You got it for doing something very heroic, right? Something where if you saw it, you'd be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this guy is doing this. This is amazing." Like, say, you're on Iwo Jima, right? You're storming Iwo Jima and you're trying to defeat the Japs right there, right? And you got all your fellow soldiers, all your fellow Marines next to you, and you're mowing people down. You got your BAR, your Browning automatic rifle, and you run out of rounds, and you've got your sidearm, your runner runs there, your grenades, you've tossed all your grenades away, and you've run out of those. And so now you're like doing like close quarters combat with a bunch of Japs and pillboxes right there. in order to save your fellow soldiers over there, without any thought to your own life right there. And so you're doing stuff like that, like, oh my God, Lance Corporal, Smith is just going and attacking these pillboxes with just his, with his K-bar, with his knife or whatever. And wow, that's amazing. Oh wow. And then he got a machine gun off one of the Japs there, and now he's mowing down that pillbox. And you're just causing destruction. You're ending Japanese lives, right? And maybe your commanding officer happens to see you doing that along with some of your fellow Marines right there. And if you were to see that, all that going down on a big movie screen in front of you, that would be a very cool movie military moment. All right. So do you see the connection there? So that is what I'm talking about right there. But without further ado, we should not keep tonight's movie military moment honoree waiting any longer. Okay. So, and tonight's movie military moment honoree is 2nd Lieutenant Thomas W. Wiggle or Wigley. And I apologize if I'm butchering that last name. It's spelled W-I-G-L-E. So I don't know if it's simply just Wiggle or Wigley or something like that. But yes, we are going to honor him regardless here. And so he fought in World War II, and specifically the good 2nd Lieutenant here. But I don't think that we should do this and read all about the 2nd Lieutenant without honoring him with some movie military moment music. Do you? I think he deserves that music. Absolutely. So let's get that going here, and let's play a little music for our hero. This is the movie military moment. And in this movie military moment, we pay tribute to 2nd Lieutenant Thomas W. Wiggle or Wigley. And he fought in World War II. And let's find out more about the good 2nd Lieutenant. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of life above and beyond the call of duty in the vicinity of Monte Prestino, Italy, the 3rd Platoon, in attempting to seize a strongly fortified hill position protected by 3 parallel high terrace stone walls, was twice thrown back by the withering crossfire. 2nd Lieutenant Wiggle, acting company executive, observed that the platoon was without an officer. All his troops commanded on next attack. Leading his men up the air, rocky smoke, with constant fire, he succeeded in reaching the first stone walls. Having himself moved to the top and perching there in full view of the enemy, he drew to return their fire while his men helped each other up and over. Following the same method, he successfully approaching his men. On reaching the top of the 3rd wall, he faced the houses, which was a key point of the enemy defense. Ordering his men to confirm, he made a dash to a hail of receiving fire to reach the nearest house. Firing his carbine as he entered, he drove enemy before him out of the back door and into the 2nd house. While he drove and he was on the foe, he drove them from the house to the 3rd wooded refuge in the cellar. When his men rejoined him, they found him mortally wounded on the stairs, which he had put towards the surrender of the enemy. His heroic action resulted in the capture of 30 German soldiers and the seizure of the strong point. And we salute you, 2nd Lieutenant Thomas W. Wiggle, for what you did to be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. And that has been the movie military moment. All right. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that citation of the good 2nd Lieutenant who unfortunately gave his life for us, for his country, to fight for freedom right there. But it obviously did not go unrecognized here, as he is the recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor. So I like to just read these citations here, actually, just to kind of get me motivated in the morning right there, because sometimes I have those mornings where I get out of bed and I'm like, man, I don't feel like doing anything. I'm just going to lay on the couch and just scratch my nuts all day long and do nothing. Now that's not good news. Like, say if your husband and your wife gives you a honeydew list, yeah, that ain't gonna fly right there. So if you need something to kind of motivate you, not kind of, but motivate you big time, then yeah, go check out these citations of these Congressional Medal of Honor recipients here. I'll give you the website to do that very thing, and the website is cmohs.org/recipients. Again, that's cmohs.org/recipients, and check those things out. They're very, very motivating. That is for sure. Okay. But it's time to wrap up this movie military moment. All right, let's get my Kimosabi back up here on the show right there. So, and definitely, so, yeah, the Tombstone right here. I mean, I think that, with that, I think that that's a good entry-level Western for a lot of folks that don't want to start off with something, like I was mentioning before, Rio Bravo or Red River or something like that. Those are slow burn movies that came out like the 50s and 60s. And so if you can get them to watch Tombstone, then I think that kind of gets their palate ready for some more Westerns. And then you can kind of move them on down to slightly less action-packed movies, like maybe like Silverado and Pale Rider and Outlaw Josie Wales and that kind of thing. But I don't know. Am I totally off base with that there, Ryan, or what do you think?
As somebody who is, well, technically because of my age, is late to the party on that one. I think that Tombstone is, yeah, I think it's a good entry level movie. It also has a lot of historical basis, stuff like that. If I was thinking probably a little more Hollywoodish, kind of like flair, I think of Maverick.
Oh yeah, with Mel Gibson.
Yeah. So I mean, but I really do enjoy that movie. It is a lot of fun. It's just good popcorn fun. Tombstone is not that. I'm not saying Tombstone is not fun, but it's more in depth. Maverick is more comedic. Jodie Foster, Mel Gibson, stuff like that. Sure. And but Tombstone is based off of real historical events,
right? And
so it might make people. It might be an easy way to ease in. Sure. To other things, because as obviously as Hollywood has gone on, sure, they've gotten better at certain things. Well, not recently, but from the 90s era, I'll say, right, got better at certain things. So, but no, I think if you want a good entry level and to have fun and enjoy the characters, get a little historical accuracy to certain degrees, you can go visit the real life Tombstone in Arizona. It's still there.
Right.
The main street is still there. The OK Corral is still there. Yeah, I think it's something that would suck you into the, just being a little more interested in a lot of historical events.
Sure.
From the Old West.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like get away from just yourself there, and immerse yourself in history and find an appreciation of that. And I'm a big history nerd too. I was like last weekend, my brother and I, we went down to, I live in Iowa. We went down to Rock Island Arsenal, and a Rock Island Arsenal, manufactured all these different kind of weapons. They made M1s, for World War II. Yep. They made rockets and all that stuff for anti-aircraft guns and that kind of thing. And it was just fascinating going into their museum and just checking out, how they made weapons and that kind of thing, like where they featured their weapons and that, and so yeah, so and the Old West is the exact same way, where if you could check out things like that and find out like how things are intriguing back then. It also kind of gives you appreciation for where you're at right now too, because you're like, man, they lived rough back in the Old West. I mean, that was some rough living.
Yeah, so the old buildings have air conditioning now. They didn't then, right. And they have solid, running water and plumbing. Yeah, they didn't
right.
then.
Right,
And
right.
so it's like two things that have probably made human beings live longer.
Oh
Air
yeah,
conditioning is one, and indoor plumbing is probably number two,
sure.
because you get
Right.
clean water, and you also get a clean waste disposal system.
Oh,
So,
right, exactly. Yeah, just a number of diseases. Like back then, if you got them, you're dead. You're dead. It's a
yeah.
death sentence right there. Where now today, like, yeah, we have better medicine and all of that stuff, right there. So yeah, so I think that's one thing you can get out of history is like realizing maybe giving you an appreciation of things that you just take for granted nowadays. Like you said, running water, air
Oh, yeah.
conditioning, there. So there's some places in Europe that still haven't gotten the whole air conditioning thing. Because if you ever like go to Europe, there's a lot of places over there that still don't have air conditioning.
Yeah, it's
So,
really they look at us as like we're crazy people because we like our air conditioning.
Yep.
And it's not just a lot of places, it's most places. You can go to Germany, you can go to Great Britain, you can go to France, Belgium, Germany. Like their idea of air conditioning is opening the windows in the summer and letting the fresh breeze in. I'm sorry, I have no desire. Like,
no, exactly. Yeah, that's one thing. That and guns is a couple of things are backwards on. That's for sure. So yeah,
well, yeah, by far.
by far, right there. But yeah, that's good stuff there. But I think we're getting ready to wrap up this show right here. With Tombstone, and just looking here, and right now is typically the time where I let everybody know like what movie I'm going to be covering next week. So this week, obviously, was a retro review, a retro discussion. We went back to, way back, back to the year 1993 there for Tombstone. But we're getting back to, regular order this year, or, as normal, with a new movie that I'll be reviewing. And that's going to be the Guy Ritchie movie called In the Gray with Henry Cavill. I think I was mentioning Henry Cavill earlier there as maybe playing Achilles, but alas, he will not be playing Achilles. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal there. I think Jake Gyllenhaal, I think he was in a pretty good Western one time, wasn't he? Oh, no, never mind. The only Western I Brokeback Mountain. That's it. That's not even a Western. But I could have sworn he was in another Western, though. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I think I thought he was in that Magnificent Seven movie with Denzel and Chris Pratt and those in that there.
No, I don't think he was.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's got Jake Gyllenhaal in it as well.
That's a pretty good movie, though. By the way, the Magnificent Seven. It's pretty entertaining. It's pretty good.
It's not bad, right? Exactly. Yeah, I think Ethan Hawke's really good in that movie too.
Yeah,
he's very good. So Peter Sarsgaard makes a good bad guy in that. But In the Gray also has the very hot Isa Gonzalez. And that, if you guys don't know who Isa Gonzalez, she was the eye candy and Baby Driver. If you guys seen Baby Driver, but
I've never seen either one, but I might have to look into them.
Yeah, Baby Driver is really good. If you want a good like a good heist movie, it was basically came out. It was it had Kevin Spacey in it right after Kevin Spacey became like persona non grata, and you weren't supposed to say the name Kevin Spacey right there. But it's a good like bank robbery crime thriller movie, but with like a musical edge to it, which that makes no sense right now. But if you watch the movie, it'll make sense.
Okay.
There, but very, very good. But so all that to say is next week's movie is In the Gray by Guy Ritchie. Mr. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, the Sherlock Holmes movies. That Guy Ritchie, right? And so I'll be doing a spoiler-free review about In the Gray on this Sunday afternoon. That's on my Movies Merica live show. That comes on at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and then 1 p.m. Pacific. And then a week from tonight, we'll be talking some In the Gray spoilers and all, okay? The Sunday show is spoiler-free, okay? That's the show where I tell you, or yes, go see that movie. And I also let you know if it's woke or not. And then a week from tonight, this is the spoiler show where I'm not going to go out of my way to spoil the movie, but I'm also not going to walk on eggshells trying to avoid spoiling the movie right there. So that'll be a week tonight. God, I hope In the Gray movie is good, because I'm sick of seeing crappy movies, that's for sure. But I think I've gotten lucky with the last few, because I think the one I saw reviewed before I went on my little break there was the Michael Jackson movie. That was pretty good. Normal with Bob Odenkirk, that was pretty good. So I guess I should stop whining so much. So I'm kind of on a streak, especially with Tombstone. When you include Tombstone, fantastic, classic movie. If you haven't seen Tombstone, what the fuck is wrong with you? Okay, so there we go. You're not an American if you're watching, in this country and you are an American. So there you go. All right, let's double check here, make sure all business has been attended to here. Hey, Ryan, where should they follow you at? I mean, do you have any kind of links you can or locations that you can refer people to?
Yeah, actually, I'm doing a lot of my content right now on my my pop culture channel, which I just kind of resurged after taking a 13-month hiatus.
Yeah.
Which is called LegionTalk, Legion talk, and then of course, if you just went straight up video games, you can follow me on Legion Games 2076. And if you're gonna want to follow me on Twitter, which I don't know why you would, it's because Twitter is where I pretty much only get news, in post, repost stuff, or maybe piss people off because there's drama about stuff and they're mad at me and then I piss them off again. LG 2076 news. So if you want pop culture stuff or you want video games, just go for the first two.
Gotcha. Yeah, we do have those links in the description down below there as well. So making it very easy for you to see Ryan's stuff there. So, and it's you're on YouTube only, is that right?
I'm on YouTube. I'm on Rumble, and I just started a Kick. So Kick, I'm probably going to be doing only video game streams. Rumble, I do video games live streams there, and I've been and it is Legion Talk on this on Rumble.
Okay,
and I've been doing some pop culture stuff and kind of like infighting. It's news within our sphere. Again, people are grumpy because somebody's grumpy about this. They're grumpy about that. People are being stupid.
What? People are grumpy about the news? That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So it's just, so anyway, but if you just want to, you can follow me there for video games too. You don't have to watch my actual videos. I do live streams on Rumble. Going to start Kick on X, and I do them on YouTube.
Okay. Excellent right there. So, and then, hey, follow me. I've got, my link up in the live chat there on Rumble as well. All my links are down in the description as well there. I'm on X under @Movies Merica. I'm on Facebook. I got a Movies Merica Facebook page, Movies Merica Facebook group. Van Ebert, my profile on Facebook. I'm on Gab. Rumble. You'll find me on Rumble, of course. If you're watching me on Rumble right now, you're like, duh. Yeah, I know you're on Rumble. But I've got 3 Movies Merica accounts on Rumble. The one that's, like the most legit is the one where you see just a whole boatload of episodes. That's the one. But please follow me on all 3 of the Movies Merica Rumble accounts there, if you would, there as well. YouTube, a little harder to find me on there. But if you just look up Movies Merica and then just a movie name, you'll find me there. And it's under the Till Death Podcast Network, and follow or subscribe to the Till Death Podcast Network on YouTube there. So, but again, like I said before, I have my Movies Merica live show on Sunday afternoons, and then this show on Thursday. There we go. Gotta get my fingers right. There we go. This show on Thursday nights there. And if you're watching right now, you know this right here. But again, hey, Ryan, man, appreciate you doing me the honor of coming on here and being the special, not the special ed guest, the special guest. All right.
I was in the Army. It's special ed.
Yeah, special ed. Yeah.
I know my place.
Ryan's gonna go lick some windows after this episode right there, and pick some boogers
with hot sauce.
Yeah, what's that?
With hot sauce.
With hot sauce. There you go. I like that. There you go. Yeah. Maybe
in the Army we didn't
Texas Pete.
Yeah, in the Army we didn't get good food, so we had to put hot sauce on everything. I still do.
You still do? Well, there you go. Hey, old habits die hard. That is for sure right there. So, all right. So we're getting ready to wrap up this show. But as I always say, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya.
See ya.
Howdy, my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. Would you do me a favor and check me out at solo.to/moviesmerica. That's where you would go for a one-stop shop for all the links that have to do with me, Movies Merica. And then also, if you want to check out the audio-only podcast versions of my Movies Merica live episodes, that's my spoiler-free reviews that I do on Sunday, you can go to moviesmerica.com or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, places like that. And then, actually, if you would also check me out on the social media sites like X and Instagram and Facebook and Gab. And I'm on those locations all under @Movies Merica. So it is very easy to find me out there, all right? So get to it, everybody. All right, thanks for watching. Later.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the popo. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'll be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right, thanks for watching.